geldiniz. Petrovizel 2'nin 10 yıldır beklenen, 10 yıldır sürekli bir şekilde geliştirilen Petrovizel 2'yi artık duyuruyorlar. Yani Petrovizel tarihinin en büyük lansmanı olacak. Neden en büyük lansmanı olacak? Petrovizel 2'nin Endgame'ini hiç göstermemişler. Hiç. İlk defa Endgame'i gösterecekler. İlk defa diyecekler ki Endgame bu hocam diyecekler. Ve biz de o oyunun tadına tam şu anda son bir dakika kala bakacağız. Bakalım inşallah tatlı bir güzel bir şey olur. Zaten size bazı spoilerları verdim yayındayken. Ama tabii şaşıracağımız yerler %100 olacaktır yani. Bakalım neler olacak. Endgame'de bakalım hangi kontentleri gösterecekler. Şu ana kadar açıklanan ritüel, alva ve yüksek ihtimal tahminimce Breach. Ama bakalım kaç tanesi olacak. Bir de getiriyorlarmış 20 content. Endgame bossları geliyormuş. Maven'dır, Elder'dır falan. Bakalım nasıl olacak. 30 tane map olacağı söylenmişti. Şimdi kesin bir şey alacağız. 660 olduk mu? Rekoru kırdık o zaman. Benim Petrovizel Settler'da, Petrovizel'de Settler liginde 600'dü maksimum. Twitch kendi rekorumu da kırmış oluyorum bu yayında bu arada. Haydi bakalım. 5 4 3 2 1. Haydi bakalım. Ses nasıl? Bana bir feedback verin. Açayım mı? Azaltayım mı?
Ready your men, Captain. We will only get one chance.
Yayın mı gitti? Allah Allah.
Dendoman.
Heh.
Shut your damn mouth. Why do I always
Oğlum 1000 megabit internet var.
Hey, the kid's got a mean cleave. Give him a chance.
Sesi arttırayım mı? Bana sesi söyleyin. Arttırayım mı azaltayım mı? Duyabiliyor musunuz? Arttırıyorum. 68 yaptım. İyi mi? Biraz daha arttırayım mı? İyi mi şu an? Okey.
A mean cleave, Captain?
Bayram sana zahmet SS alabilir misin? Bir 5-6 tane.
Captain Oren? Captain?
Abi sinematik mi olacak ya? Sinematik mi olacak ya?
It's here.
Yoksa...
Rain, send the signal!
What the fuck?
Rain!
Ne diyorsun ya?
Blade up!
Come on, come on. I'm ready. I'm ready. It's a man.
No, it's not. Run!
As.
Captain! Captain!
Al işte hikaye anlatımı istedik. Alın size hikaye anlatımı. Alın size sinematik dediler ya.
The captain, You'll be fine.
here. What is it?
Oğlum yine herkes konuşuyor biraz.
Get the body.
Stop.
Yaratıkların kafası attı diyor.
It can still be contained. You don't know what you have unleashed.
Your kind no longer control this world. We cannot destroy your body, it's true. But you will watch as we destroy everything you have built. Bind him! Feed. Grow, my child. I'll make sure you can eat your fill.
Alın size sinematik dediler, vallahi şahane ya.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Now, Path of Exile 2 is going into early access in around 2 weeks on December the 6th. But even though it's early access, this isn't just some small taste. The game is huge. In this live stream, we're going to be introducing everything you can expect. So without further ado, let's roll the gameplay trailer.
Existence is a thing of beauty. Precious.
Türkçe altyazı yapacağız. Bittikten sonra baştan YouTube'dan bakacağız.
Life and death.
Burada altyazı
mortal
olmuyor.
enemies.
YouTube'da olacak. Bu kısımları bir daha bakacağız yani altyazı bir şekilde, merak etmeyin.
The continuation of life must be protected
Alva,
at
Alva
all
mı?
costs. Some
İki
have
seneye
said
buradaki.
my methods are brutal. To this, I say, there can be no salvation without sacrifice.
Of. Asyan Nasi'yi gördük değil mi daha demin? Çok iyi. Donum ıslandı diyen var. Evet, Flas dediğim gibi. Flas'ları gördünüz değil mi? Size ben 4-5 gün önceden zaten söylemiştim.
We are faced with the end, and I will do what I must.
Ne diyorsun? Atlas o şekilde mi olacak? Atlas bu mu artık? Bir dakika. Oy bir iç var. Bu ne? Onu bilmiyorum. Bu ne? Bir iç var. Abi Atlas'ı gördünüz değil mi? Yanılmıyorsam yani.
Those who obsess with death, let them soon be acquainted with it.
Ne diyorsun ya? Of.
Now, as you just saw, even in early access, Path of Exile 2 is a big game. It's actually been 5 years since we announced PoE 2, and over that time we've revealed a lot, but it's been in bits and pieces. It's pretty
Oğlum
hard to
çok
keep track of it all,
hype'landım.
so today we're going to do a full rundown of all the content that will be available at the start of early access. Classes, character progression systems, and for the first time, a full overview of the end game. This is going to be a big one, so get comfortable. For 20 years, Rayclast has been free from any sources of corruption.
Aydot mu bu?
But the Count of Ogham, tempted by promises of power, intends to harness it once more. The dead are rising, monsters are mutating, and madness is spreading. Under the dark influence of corruption, the Count doles out sentences of death to any who would question him. And this is where you find yourself at the start of PoE 2.
Ayağındaki o Seven
Explore the
Step değil
dark
mi? Abi
forests
o
of
kadar
Ogden.
o
Traverse
kadar
the
detaylı
barren plains of
izlemedim
the
ben. Oğlum bu ne oluyor lan? Benden dolayı mı? Gitti mi?
Vesteri Desert, and delve into the jungle ruins of
Komple
Utsal,
gidiyor, değil mi?
an ancient Val city. There are challenging
Benim çünkü 1000 megabit internetim var.
monsters, hidden runes, lost camps and treasures, roaming merchants, and of course, unique bosses. No two areas are the same. It falls to you to
Herkesle
track down the
gidiyorlar
seed
değil
of
mi?
corruption,
Gidiyor.
the source of all this devastation. On the way, you'll face fearsome monsters,
Oho,
meet strange
yayın
characters,
böyleyse.
forge unlikely bonds, and uncover lost civilizations. But first, you'll need to pick a class.
Babacım yayın. Bu ne?
Now, early access will initially have 6 classes available. Let's have a look at them. The Monk is a fast and
Komple gidiyor
furious
değil
melee
mi?
fighter.
Bak herkes de
He
gidiyor. Bak
dashes in
lag
and out
var
of
diyor.
combat and has mechanics that involve building up and
Herkes
keeping
de gidiyor.
momentum. Like all classes in
Güzel
PvP2,
değil mi?
you'll want to use a wide variety of skills to mix and match different combos.
Bak komple gidiyor herkes de.
To get
Lag var, lag var, lag. Oğlum
new
durdurun
skills,
lan
you'll
bu
first
game.
need
Bu
to
ne?
find skill gems. Using a skill gem will open the gem cutting menu, which shows all the active skills available in PoE2. You can choose an existing
Başa sarın abi. Bu ne? Göremedik ki. Lag var hep. Herkes de gitti. Bu ses ne lan? Komple gitti herhalde. Abi. Server çöktü. Oğlum Yeni Zelanda'da savaş mı çıktı? Ne oldu lan? Raul Jimenez. Abi 5 dakikaya rollback atıyoruz şimdi. Hemen 5 dakika geriye alıyoruz. 5 dakika geriye alıyoruz hemen. Umarım alırlar, bu olmaz. Some indie company problems diyeceğiz. Raul Jimenez. Bu nasıl acemilik? Abi şey diyen vardı ya, abi PetroXL 2 Early Access'e girerken kasma olmaz değil mi diye soran vardı. Cevap kardeşim. PetroXL 2'nin Early Access'inde oyuna girerken donacak mı ilk gün? Cevap. Oğlum yoksa bende mi gitti lan sadece? Herkes de gitti değil mi? Herkes de gitmiş, tamam. Ne diyeyim, üzücü. Of, nasıl izleyici kaybediyorlar lan. Ah be. Oğlum 5 dakika geri alın. Nasıl kapanıyor, nasıl donuyor? Prova mı yapmadınız? Ya böyle donma nasıl olabiliyor abi? Yayını izliyoruz. Oyun ilk hafta oynanmaz diyen var.
Sir, just what are we facing here?
Abi 5 dakika geri alın, böyle en başa sardılar.
Those who
Ha,
power
ilerletiyorlar.
intends to harness.
Geri
There are
alıyorlar videoyu.
21
Dur.
active skills for quarterstaves, so
Dur,
this
geri
just
aldılar
scratches the
beni,
surface of the
kaldığımız
options that you
yerden.
have. By endgame, you'll be dashing from pack to pack,
Az daha geri
spewing.
alın buraları.
It's where you find yourself at the start
Ha,
of
süper,
PoE2.
bu okey. Burada dur abi. Burada dur
Explore
Jonathan.
the dark forests of Ogham. Traverse the barren plains of the Vesteri Desert. And delve into the jungle ruins of Utsal, an ancient Val city. There are challenging monsters, hidden runes, lost camps and treasures, roaming merchants, and of course, unique bosses. No two areas are the same. It falls to you to track down the seed of corruption, the source of all this devastation. On the way, you'll face fearsome monsters, meet strange characters, forge unlikely bonds, and uncover lost civilizations. But first, you'll need to pick a class.
6
Now,
karakter.
early access will initially have 6 classes available. Let's have a look at
Monk,
them.
Mercenary,
The Monk is a
Witch,
fast and
Ranger.
furious melee fighter.
Tam
He
söylüyorum.
dashes in and out of combat and has mechanics that involve building up and keeping momentum. Like all classes in PoE2, you'll want to use a wide
Bu
variety
bunun
of skills
çalı.
and mix and
Bu
match
bunun
different
yardımcı
combos.
ekipmanı. Tetikleyecek sürekli.
To get new skills, you will first need to find skill gems. Using a skill gem will open the gem cutting menu, which shows all the active skills available in PoE2. You can choose an existing skill to level up, or choose to engrave a new one. Since this is a level 7 skill gem, even if you pick a new skill, it will immediately be level 7, so there's no harm in trying out something new. The Monk primarily uses the quarterstaff. There are 3 schools of martial arts: lightning,
Of of.
ice, and wind. But
Abi
don't think you have
melee
to stick
çok
to
kötü
just
ama
one.
bunu nasıl
The best
oynamayacaksın
combos
ki
are
ya?
going to
Çok
involve mixing
tatlı.
elements of all 3.
Oğlum çok
Let's try
hızlı kaya
killing
kaya
Palm.
gidiyor lan.
Like many monk skills, this can be used to quickly take advantage of a specific situation. If there's an enemy on low life, you can use Killing Palm to dash to them and kill them instantly. This will provide a power charge. Then we can use a different skill to consume that power charge for a much more devastating attack. The Monk also has powerful combo skills. Tempest Bell, for example, is a skill that places a giant resonating bell. Hitting the bell causes it to ring, dealing damage to all enemies
Heh,
around
gördün
it.
mü? Bu
You
bel
can also do
çağırıyor.
things like freeze or
Bel,
shock the bell, which will
Türkçesi
add
neydi
elemental
onun ya?
damage to the
Çan mı
strikes.
demekti? Bel. Onu
The
çağırırsan
Monk also has a
tetikliyor.
variety
Senin
of
attığın
abilities to
skill'i.
empower his staff. If an enemy is close to being stunned, you can use Staggering Palm to punch them down. After that, any attack you do will shoot out wind projectiles.
Oğlum çok tatlı ya.
There are 21 active skills for quarterstaves, so this just scratches the surface of the options that you have. By endgame, you'll be
şahane.
dashing from pack to pack, spewing projectiles
Oğlum
and
çok
obliterating screens of
hızlandırmışlar
enemies
lan.
with
Monk
huge
böyle
combo
değildi.
attacks.
Oğlum bu ne kaya kaya
Now, if you
gidiyor.
like a style
Monk.
of melee that's a little
Shrine de var
slower,
bu
but
arada,
hits
fark
much
ettiniz mi?
harder,
Yeni
then the
content
Warrior is
Shrine.
for you.
Shrine'i de
He pounds
eklemişler
the ground
komikli.
with big chunky attacks and can shrug off the hits of small
Gördüğünüz,
enemies
fark
with large
ettiğiniz
amounts of armor.
detaylar varsa yazın abi. Ben
Even though the
okuyorum
mace slams are
olabildiğince
slow,
chat'i.
you never lose control.
Shrine gelmiş.
Longer attacks can be retargeted as you go,
Botlar gitmiş,
and if you
botları
find yourself
söyledik
committed to a
sana,
long
botlar.
attack, you can dodge roll out of it at any time. Among the skill option for maces, you'll find a variety of slams, fire attacks, war cries, and shield skills. Here, I'm going to slam the ground, rending it apart with lines of fire. Any slam skill will then cause these fissures to erupt with lava. I can even run through them with a skill like Stampede to do huge amounts of damage.
Abi çok hızlandırmışlar.
The Warrior can also use War Cries, which can empower your next skill. Seismic Cry, for example, will double any slams from your next attack. The Stampede counts as a slam, so I can double that for even more craziness. If you want to go a little faster and be a little more defensive, equip a shield. In PoE2, you can raise your shield at any time to block all damage from
Burada
the
güzel
front,
de
even
artık
spells.
aktif blok var. Shield'ini
While holding up your
kaldırarak
shield, your
gelen
stun meter
hasarı
will build as you
önlüyorsun.
take damage.
Fakat
So
burada bir
be careful.
stagger bar var
If
artık.
it reaches 100%,
O bar
your stance
dolarsa
will
ayvayı
break
yiyor.
and you will be vulnerable.
Örnek al.
Some enemies also have unblockable attacks, which are indicated by this red flash. If you see one of these coming, make sure to dodge out of the way. Using a shield also gives you access to shield skills, like Shield Charge, which allows you to charge towards enemies and stun them. While charging, you're also blocking the whole time, so you have full damage immunity from the front. The Warrior also has access to totems. Some totems have built-in
Shockwave
abilities, like
totem.
Shockwave Totem, which can be placed to
Shockwave
stun nearby enemies
totem.
and trigger aftershocks like those
Çok
from the
iyi
earthquake.
totem.
But you can also get
Birkaç
Ancestral
lig
Warrior
bunu
Totems,
oynadım
which
ben.
allow you to
Shockwave
use
totem
any slam
oynuyordum.
skill in your repertoire. This is a meta skill, which means that
Ankesal
it's a skill
Warrior
you can put
totem
other
geri
skills
gelmiş.
into.
Okey.
I can take a slam
Ankesal
like
totemler
Sunder and
kaldırılmıştı
sock it
bu
into my
evde.
Ancestral Warrior Totem. Now when I summon him, he'll
Geri
sit there and
gelmiş.
slam the monsters from a distance. There are 20 active skills for maces, so
Olaya
there's a lot more to
gel.
try out.
Senin
But by endgame,
taklidini
you're
mi
going to be
yapıyor,
dropping
doğru
damage
mu
from the
anladım?
sky, leaping fearlessly into combat, and separating the very
Oğlum
earth you stand
Warrior
on.
çok efsane duruyor lan. Monk da çok iyi.
Time for some ranged attacks. The Ranger is
geldik.
primarily about the
Ranger.
bow, but we wanted to make sure
Okay.
that she feels agile as well. In PoE2, you can shoot while moving. Combined with all the skills the Ranger has that allow you to jump
Okay,
around,
I'm
you'll have a
starting.
lot of mobility in combat. Bow skills have a variety of lightning, poison, ice, and physical attacks. Lightning attacks bounce around between targets. You can also stick lightning arrows in the ground which explode when hit by the bouncers,
Gemde
or electrocute
levellerini
enemies to take them out of
ankatlarla.
combat.
arttırabiliyoruz. Bir tık kısayım mı yayın
Ice
sesi?
attacks allow you
Tamam.
to slow and freeze enemies to keep them away from you.
77'ye geldi. Şu an iyi mi?
Using
Yayın
poison not
sesi.
only can you
Biraz daha
slowly damage
kısayım
your
mı?
enemies from afar, but also grow some interesting plants. With 21 bow skills and all the mobility and combo tools the ranger has, you can take advantage of every situation. By endgame, you'll be creating hundreds of
60
arrows, be they falling from the sky, bouncing around between enemies, or spraying out of tornadoes. You might have noticed in the bottom left of the screen that the flask slots look a little different. In PoE 2, you
anlattığım
have one
kısım.
dedicated
PoE 2'de
life flask
iki
slot
tane
and
flask
one
var abi.
mana flask slot. Flasks gain charges as you kill enemies, and typically allow you to heal 6 or 7 times if they're full. But that's not the only thing you can use charges for. Charms are a new item type that will automatically defend
İşte
you from
klasik.
various debuffs or damage types. Having
Bleed
trouble with
yersen
getting
bleed
frozen?
ölmüyor.
Equip a Thawing Charm.
Bleed
When it's
yersen
fully
freeze'i
charged, it will make you
kaldırıyor.
immune
Oğlum
to
yanına bir
freeze
şey daha
3
koyaydınız
seconds if
ya.
you get frozen.
Freeze'i kaldırıyor.
recharge
Başka ne
them, just
yapıyor?
kill more
İki piş
monsters.
abi. Niye kullanayım o zaman?
You can gain more slots for charms by upgrading your belt. The Mercenary wields a crossbow that can be loaded with different ammo
Bak
types, offering
Mercenary işte
versatility,
en güzel
power, and mobility.
başlanılabilir. Oha
All classes
oha.
in Path of Exile 2
Oğlum,
can be
off
controlled with
screen vurdu,
WASD,
buraya
which
vurdu,
makes this
tavırdaki
class play
yaratık
exactly
öldü.
like a shooter. For the crossbow, you will find
Oha
skills that
oğlum,
look like
clear'a bak.
shotguns, sniper
Clear'a
rifles,
bak.
assault rifles, and even grenade launchers. But not only that, there are a wide variety of more
grenade
interesting
çok iyi
elemental
işte
ammos
bomba.
too. It's very
Mercenary
fast to
oğlum,
switch between ammo
map'in
types,
dışına
as long as you
vuraydın
already have
hocam.
them loaded, which
Oğlum,
makes the
diğer
mercenary
map'e
able to
vurdu.
combo abilities together for devastating effect.
Bak birden vurdu, aktifçe gitti.
Use Glacial Bolt to create walls of ice to separate enemies, then switch to Fragmentation rounds to explode the ice, dealing massive AoE damage.
Of.
If I come across an armored enemy, I could use armor piercing rounds to break their armor, and then high velocity rounds to take them down.
Böyle
Or perhaps I
geldi
could
mi
fire a
yaratık
gas
armor
grenade to poison
piercer'ı
enemies
birini
before
açacaksın,
detonating the
armorunu
clouds with an
kısacaksın,
explosive
sonra
shot
bam
for
gün
massive
gireceksin
damage.
diyor. Yani beynini kullanacaksın.
If you
Kalın
want to
yaratık
call in some
gelirse armor
suppressing
pierce
fire,
at diyor.
you can summon artillery ballistas. These have a minimum range, so you'll want to prepare your position carefully before moving in.
Partileri balistayı kimse kullanmaz herhalde. Bir
There are
saatte sıkıyor.
22 active skills for crossbows. By endgame, you'll be calling destruction down from the sky as you
Abi
rid
bu
the battlefield with
clear
grenades
ne?
and pepper your enemies with
Yok
your
etti bir
automatic
dünya
shotgun.
yarattı. Warrior orayı bir
If you're
saatte
looking to
yok
take a back
ediyordu.
seat and let your minions do the work, then the witch should be
Warrior
your
oraya bir
choice.
saatte
She can
dönerdi.
call forth hordes of undead monsters to fight for her while casting powerful chaos spells that debilitate her enemies. Occult skills are some of the most varied in the game, with skeletons, noxious spells,
Bu ne
specialty
lan? Biri
minions,
yazmış.
curses, and sacrificial magic.
Bakayım.
Before we talk about minions, we'll have to talk about a new resource in Path of Exile 2 called Spirit.
Spirit.
This is a spirit gem, which allows you to pick from a range of persistent skills. All classes have a variety of
Arkadaşlar
these
fark
skills which can add
ettiğiniz
some very
değişik
interesting
detaylar
effects.
varsa yazın.
Like Arctic
Chat'e
Armor,
bakmaya
which does cold
çalışıyorum.
damage to
Ben
enemies
belki
that hit you.
kaçırabilirsem
Or
yanda
Raging
bir
Spirits,
Shrine
which
Mine
summon fiery
görürseniz
skulls
yazın.
each time you cast a fire
Ya da
spell.
yanda bir
For the
Legion
Witch, though,
falan
we'll want to be using
görürseniz
our spirit to create
yazın.
permanent minions. These minions will be revived automatically when they die, so you don't have to worry about resummoning them all the time.
Böcek bildiğin çıkıyor.
Here, I'm using the skill screen to allocate which minions I would like in my horde.
Buradan
You
ordunu
can see the
ayarlıyorsun.
spirit cost of each one.
Bundan 2 tane. Hocam
Skeletal
bundan 2
warriors are
tane
cheap
alayım.
but
Hani
weak,
yemek
useful
hazırlıyorsun.
for tanking damage and distracting
Bir
enemies.
çorba, 2 tane
But I want
pilav.
more heavy hitters in my army, so I'm going to
İstediğin
unsummon
gibi
some warriors and
seçebiliyorsun.
instead add
Ordunu
skeletal
oluşturuyorsun.
artists.
Sonra da o orduyla ya
Permanent
ha.
minions come with special
Buraya
active
bakalım
abilities
kaç
called
kişiyle
command
gidiyor.
skills.
2, 3,
You
5,
can order these
7.
guys to detonate your own minions
10
for even
tane
more damage
minyonla.
and area of effect.
Ay
If you want
çok
a bigger
tatlı
army,
duyuyor
you'll
minyon.
need a
Çok
scepter.
rahat.
This new weapon type is imbued with even more spirit, allowing you to summon even more friends. And if you want an even bigger army than that, you can take advantage of corpses to summon true hordes of minions. But what can a witch do while her army is at work? Well, she has a range of chaos spells to spread disease
Oğlum
amongst your
minyon o
enemies,
kadar
or
yavaş
bone
koşuyor
skills to
ki.
impale them.
Hani
Or, you know, you could curse them to make them
minyonu o
weaker so your
kadar
horde can take them down.
yavaşlatmışlar ki. Hani minyon
There
gidene
are
kadar
25
ızdırap
active
çekiyor.
occult skills. By the end game, you'll be the leader of a fearsome army of the
Hayvan
dead,
gibi
consuming
minyon
everything in
olması
its
çok
path.
lazım aslında. Çok yavaş gidiyorlar lan.
The sorceress bends the elements to her will, using them to unleash devastation on her foes.
Oy,
This classic spellcaster weaves a
sorcerer'a bak.
flurry of elemental magic from afar. The elemental skills have everything you might expect and more. Fireballs, icy explosions, lightning storms, you get the idea. Each spell is
Aga.
unique and has many different ways to build and combo with others, even between different elements. For example, Flame Wall conjures a burning line that not only damages enemies, but also empowers all projectiles that pass through it. If you place a wall and fire lightning sparks
Flame
through
Wall'un
it, they'll
içinden
gain extra
geçerse
fire damage.
projektillerin daha da hızlanıyor
It's
diyor.
a good idea to take advantage of the ability to automatically swap weapons when you use certain skills.
Melee yine
Having a
gariban
special
kalmış.
staff with bonuses to
Monk iyi
fire
ama
skills
ya. Monk
and
çok
another with
hızlıydı.
bonuses to lightning
Monk bayağı
skills can
hızlıydı
really
usta.
power up a combo like this.
Öyle deme.
The sorceress can also take advantage of powerful trigger gems. For example, you could grab the Cast and Ignite gem and use it
Nasıl
with
ignite
Firestorm.
gemi ne amına?
As you ignite enemies, a counter will go up in the top left corner. When it's full,
Ah.
a Firestorm will automatically be cast at the enemy
Eğer
that was ignited.
ignite'larsa onu
There are
tetikleyeceksin.
25 active elemental skills. By
Tetikletebileceksin
endgame,
yani.
you'll be firing off projectiles left and right as you rain down
Toplarsan bu
elemental
skill'i
storms on your
aktive eder.
foes. Now, those are the
Bu
characters
çok
that will
iyi
be
lan
available at the start of
Sorcerer'da.
early access. But
Oğlum
we will be
Warrior
adding 6 more
başlığının
character
kafasını
classes with just as many skills and
ya da
options as
isteyen bir
these.
başlasın da.
There's a lot more to come. There's one more important thing to mention about skills. Even though we talk about them as belong to each class, in reality there are no restrictions. You can
Monk
use
da
all
iyi.
these skills on any class so long as you have the attributes. For example, a poison ranger might want to try out using occult curses to increase her poison damage. Or a monk might want to trigger elemental ice walls to use with his glacial cascade combo. The
Gördünüz
possibilities
mü?
for
İki
cross-class
skill'i
combos are practically
komboluyorsunuz.
unlimited.
Bunu da
We're
bahsetmiştim.
looking forward
Yere
to what
volkan
kind of things you
atıp
guys
yere
might find.
vurarak patlatmak gibi.
Now, Path of Exile is a game known for build
Bak gördün mü? İki
customization,
skill'i
and we haven't
komboluyor.
even
Ona
scratched the
sıkıyor.
surface of what is
Oradan
possible yet.
tetikletiyor. Anladınız mı?
So let's
Peto
talk about
Exile 2'de
support
artık
gems.
böyle 2-3 tane skill kullanacağım. Peto Exile 1 gibi bir
Path of
tane
Exile
gemi
2
alır.
is a
Full
system
onun
of support
skill öyle
gems
yok.
that can be combined with your
İstersen
active skills
yapabiliyorsun
to
ama
dramatically change the way they work. If you find a support gem, then right-clicking it will open up this screen. Here you will find a variety of recommended support gems for each of your skills that you can pick between.
bak bu olay muhteşem.
For example,
Artık
this is a
önerilen
multiple
skill'ler var.
projectile support
Gördünüz
gem.
mü?
It
3
can be
tane
used to add
skill
multiple
önerdi.
projectiles to any skill.
Eskiden neydi? Yağmur gibi 50
Normally, when
tane
you fire a
skill.
grenade, it'll look
Neden?
like this.
Yeni başlayan oyuncular rahat
But
olsun
if we
diye.
add
3
multiple
tane
projectiles,
skill
you
önerdi.
get 3 of them. Once you
Ama
have the
isteyen
gem,
adam
you
en
can
altta
also
10
freely
skill'e
move it between
seçip
any of the
hepsini
skills in your
seçebiliyor.
character. If you want to have a multi-shot sniper rifle instead, then simply move the gem over to your high-velocity round skill. Generally speaking, if it sounds
Multiple
like a support gem
projectile'ı
should work with a
fazla
skill, then it will
hani
work. So
kaldırmamak
it's a good
lazım
idea to
çünkü
experiment.
less attack speed veriyor.
Note that you can only
Less
have one of each
projectile
support gem on
damage
your
veriyor.
character.
Yani
So
damage'ini
you'll want to think
mahvediyor.
carefully about which supports can be used best with each skill for maximum damage. Now, if you want to stick to the recommendations, you should have a perfectly good
Gördün mü
time. But
recommendation?
if you
Yani
want to experiment
önerilen
a bit more, then
supportları.
uncheck that
Mükemmel
recommended
ya.
button and you can see the
Mükemmel
full
ya.
list of
Yeni
supports
başlayan
that
adam
will work with
artık
your
rahatça
skill.
ilerleyebilecek.
There are hundreds of support gems to choose from,
Reklam
and
atma.
even we don't know the
Oğlum
results
iki
of all
elimde
the
burada
possible ways
abanım.
these
Nasıl
can
reklam
interact.
atayım?
Each skill can have up to 5 supports socketed into it, and if you're clever, you can come up with some pretty interesting ideas.
Ben hayatımda
Now, all of
reklam
this is just
atmadım.
scratching the surface. You can make frost vortexes, break people's armor, make minions explode, make skills repeat, make enemies set each other on fire, cull enemies, or pin them to the ground.
Keşke kapatabilsem. Yemin ederim kapatmam.
Supports let you
Olsa
drastically
kapatırım.
change the behavior of your skills
Abone
and
olun
create
verin.
your own unique build,
40 lira bir
or
şey
at least
oldu.
follow
40 liraya
someone's
dürüm
OP build
alamıyorum.
guide.
40 lira abone oldu
So,
bari.
speaking of builds, let's talk about one of the most iconic Path of Exile systems, the
Geldik
passive skill tree.
Path of Exile'in
Yes,
en
it's
ikonik
huge.
olayına.
There are over 1,500 nodes on there.
Oyuncuların
Now, a lot of people open
%90'ı
the
burada
tree and can
eğlendi
get
beyler.
a little intimidated at first, but try not to be scared. There are lots of options, but at its
Oyuncuların
core, it's pretty
%90'ı
simple.
burada eğlendi hocam.
Each level you get 1 point to put into the tree. Each class starts at a different location, but they all share the same tree. Around your section of the tree, you'll find relevant bonuses for your character. You should be safe in the knowledge that there aren't many wrong choices here. Almost all the starting nodes will be useful for your character in some way. But if you do happen to make a choice you regret, you'll be able to respec any nodes you've taken by spending a little bit of gold.
Aa 90 gold diyor. Path of Exile 1'de amanım 2000 gold
Now,
istiyordu.
the tree is generally divided up into clusters which have similar themes. In each cluster, you will find small nodes that give simple bonuses like
Yeri
increased
artık
damage,
rahatça
but the
alabileceğiz.
real power comes from notables. Notables normally have much more interesting bonuses, and they tend to care a lot more about how your build works and what skills you're using. For example, in the mercenary area of the tree, this one gives a 25% chance for crossbow skills to not consume a bolt. And here's one that gives grenades a chance to blow up a second time.
Oha grenetler bir kez
This
daha.
one gives a
Çok
chance of
iyi.
projectiles to rebound off terrain, as well as giving you some pierce chance to make that more likely.
Çok
Note
iyi.
that even though this is in the mercenary section, this would work with projectiles from all classes.
Abi
So there are often
pasifleri
reasons to go to
acayip
different areas
önemli
of the tree. In order to get between these clusters, you will generally have to allocate nodes in the attribute highways. Attribute nodes allow you to pick which attribute you would like to use, so it's very easy to get points for any attribute that your gear might need. You can change which
Artık bu
attribute
small
these nodes give
pointleri
you for
istediğin
half
gibi
price at the respec
değiştirebileceksin.
vendor.
Mükemmel. Yani
In
5
addition to
inte mi
notables, you will
ihtiyacın
also
oldu?
find
Tak
even larger
saatla
passives
hemen
called
değiştir.
keystones. Keystones have both an upside and a downside, and often require changing your entire build to design around them. A great example
CI
is
bu
Giant's
ipler.
Blood, which allows you to
Giant's
wield
Blood
two-hand
veriyor.
weapons in a single hand, but doubles the attribute requirements of them. You can use a two-hand mace with a shield, or even dual wield them.
Bak Two-handed'la 2 tane
Or how
Two-handed
about Mind
taktım
Over
bunu.
Matter, which makes all damage go to your mana pool first before your life pool, but you lose
Abi bu olay
50% of your
çok
mana
ilginç
regen.
ya. Bütün
Skills like
yediğin
these can be
damage
tough to
manadan
build
gidiyor.
around, but if you're up for the
Normalde
challenge, they can be
yarısıydı.
very
Peto
rewarding.
Güzel 1'de.
As we showed you earlier on the Sorceress, you can swap between weapon sets on the fly as you use certain skills. One of the new features in Path of Exile 2's passive tree is that you can choose to have your passive tree change as you switch between weapon sets to take advantage of specific bonuses on the tree. For the Sorceress, you might want to change between fire
Abi
and lightning
şahane bu olayda.
specialization.
İki silah içinde ayrı
Or
ayrı
you could
tree
switch between one
yapacaksın.
hand and
Birine
a two-hand
fire
setup
damage'leri
in order to be
aldın.
able to block boss
Birine
attacks
cold
while following
damage'leri.
up with heavy hits from your
Fireball'a
bigger mace.
tıkladın direkt birinci
Or
pasif
perhaps you
tree'yi
could have a
alıp
full curse
gidiyor.
setup on your witch to debuff enemies before switching to a chaos degen
Spark'a
build to
bastın
maximum
ikinci
damage.
pasif tree'yi alıyor. Silahı da değiştiriyor otomatik.
If you
Mükemmel.
want to stick with just one weapon set, you can just use these
Ünlem
specialization
drop
points as
yazabilirsiniz
bonus
abi.
points to
Drop
invest however
almayanlar
you like.
varsa,
But
alacak
creative
olanlar
players
varsa,
will find
isteyenler
plenty of
ünlem
opportunities
drop.
with this
Orada
system.
anlattım hemen. Bir dakikalık bir
You
izleyin
can
gidin.
get weapon specialization points throughout the campaign from optional bosses and quests. For example, if I manage to defeat the Crowbell, I'll get a weapon specialization book. There are lots of other permanent boosts
Gördüğünüz
available
gibi.
from the campaign too.
Atlas
On the
bu.
map, you can see
Akt
icons
6
that
mı? Bir
indicate the many
dakika.
optional encounters you can find.
Alt
Some of them
akt mı
have permanent
olacak?
character boosts, and others have powerful items.
Allah
If you're having
Allah.
trouble getting
Üç akt
past a boss,
dediler sabah
it might be a
akşam.
good idea to explore and see what you can find. For example, if you defeat Blackjaw the Remnant, you'll gain a permanent increase to fire resistance.
Doğru gördüm değil mi?
One of the most important finds are spirit bonuses. You can find the first one
Ritual,
here in the
ritual
canopy in Act
content.
1. Defeat the boss in this area to acquire a permanent addition of spirit. The permanent buffs you gain from spirit are very powerful.
boss'u
and
kessin,
every
sana
class will find
30
a use for
maksimum
them, so
spirit
make sure you
veriyor.
hunt down these upgrades. There's one in each act. Now we haven't even talked about the most important element of character progression, items. That's why we're all here, right? Items in Path of Exile can be broken down into 4 rarity groups: normal, magic, rare, and unique. One of the things you're going to want to do as you play through the campaign is upgrade the items you find, and you can do that with currency items. An Orb of Transmutation will allow you to upgrade a normal item to a magic item with 1 mod. You can then apply an Orb of Augmentation to add a second mod,
Augmentation'la bir tane
then use
daha
a Regal Orb to add a
alabiliyorsun.
third mod,
Regal'le
and upgrade
rare
it to a rare.
yapıyorsun.
Finally, you
Exalted'la
can
da
use some
mod
Exalted
ekliyorsun.
Orbs to add more mods to your rare to a total of 6 mods. One of the things we think is really important is to make these options available to use as you play. All the items that add mods are much more common than they were in Path of Exile 1, so that you can use them throughout your campaign playthrough. We want you to find things on the ground that can be crafted into upgrades much more frequently. As well as making
Yani
the drop
bayağı
rates
bol
on these
destek
items much more
göresler.
common, you can also get them by disenchanting unwanted gear at the magic item vendor. If you disenchant
tane
magic
satma
items, you can
yöntemi
build
var.
up to an Orb of
Peto Güzel
Transmutation,
birdeki gibi
and by
eğer
disenchanting
istersen
rares, you
gündüz
can build up to
satıyorsun.
Regal Orbs.
Sana bir Transmutation
Another
şart
important
veriyor.
area of
Ya
crafting
da
items in PoE 2
Gold'la
is
satıyorsun.
sockets.
Canının
Some
hangisi
items you find will
istiyorsan.
have sockets that can have
İster
Ismite
Gold'la
runes
sat,
placed in them
ister
that add more mods to the item.
Transmutation şart.
If I insert this
Yüksek ihtimal
glacial
herkes
rune into my helmet, it will
Gold'la
give extra
satar.
cold resistance. This
Aha
is a great
dediğim
way to
rune
solve
bu.
problems that you have with your build,
İtemlerde
like
artık böyle
resistances or
delikler
damage.
olacak.
If you find
Gem değil
socketed
ama.
items that you don't have a use for, you can take them to
Gemler
the
için
salvage
değil.
bench in town to work towards an artificer's orb. This will allow
Aha.
you to add sockets to your existing
Heh,
items.
Artificial
Body
Orb.
armors and two-hand weapons can
Gördüğünüz
have up
gibi
to 2
delikler var.
sockets,
Bunlar
while the rest
gem
of your
değil
armor
ama.
and one-hand
Rune.
weapons can only
Hani
have 1
Diablo'daki
socket.
gibi düşünebilirsiniz.
You can also salvage items with quality to create items like armor scraps or whetstones. These will allow you to increase the quality of your items for an up to 20% boost.
Bunları böyle
If you
alıyoruz.
don't
Çok
want to
güzel.
disenchant or salvage your items, you can always
Onlar
salvage the
içine rune
gold.
takacaksın.
Gold
Atıyorum
can be
armora
used to buy
takarsan
items from
15
vendors,
fire risk
and we're trying
verecek.
to do a
Silah
lot to make sure
takarsan
that
ise
the items
10
they have for
fire
sale are
damage
actually
verecek.
useful. Every
Blood
time you
fire
level up,
damage.
they get more stock, so make
O
sure to
ürünler.
check back often. Other vendors offer a gamble. Pay a flat
Burada
amount of
gamble.
gold and
Şey
you'll get a
gibi
random
düşünün.
item of a
Venom gibi
specific
düşünün.
type.
Aldığında
This could be a
unique
great
olma
way to
şansı
improve
da,
your
var.
gear,
Şansı
if
da
you're
var.
lucky.
Beyaz da olur,
Gold is
magic de
also used
olabilir,
to
rare de
respec your
olabilir.
passive skills.
Çıkardığında.
Take advantage of the system to experiment with your tree and rework it
Gold'u
as
oraya
required.
harcayabileceksin. Bir de
The
üstüne
other thing you
pasif
might want to
tree'yi
use gold for is the
harcayabileceksin.
currency exchange.
İkisine de
This allows you to
harcayabileceksin.
exchange currency items with other players on
Aha
an open
en güzel
market
kısım bu.
in exchange for a
Ekmeğini
small
al.
gold fee.
Süper.
Now, all items in Path of Exile are freely tradable. We never bind anything to your character except gold.
Tamam. Bütün her şey trade edilebiliyor. Okey. Peto güzel bir lek
Now,
gibi
most
dedi.
gear in Path of Exile 2 is
Abi
randomly
unique
generated,
itemler
but there's
trade
another
ediliyor
type
mu
that
onu
is
göster bize.
uniques. They are especially rare,
Ne
each with
dedi?
a handcrafted set of unusual mods which can dramatically change a character's build. They're not
Ediliyor
just
mu
better
dedi?
rare
Doğru mu
items,
anladım?
they can do much stranger things that can fundamentally change your character. Corpse Wade will make any corpses you run through explode into clouds of poison.
Unique'lere şu an Action
The
House
Sands
geldi o
of
zaman
Silk
değil mi?
is a body armor that changes your dodge roll into a blink,
Unique de
morphing
çok
you into
unique'miş.
sand as you
Bir
teleport
alçayım
past your foes.
Gold
And of course,
hariç
some
dedi.
uniques are just
Okey.
pure hits of dopamine, like Quill Rain, which just turns your bow attacks into full auto by
Neden
doubling your
edilmez?
attack
Peto
speed.
güzel bir de ediliyor ya.
Each unique is something that you can build your character around. We try to make sure that most unique items have a potential use at endgame, even if you find them early on.
Oğlum
And as you can
efsane
see,
duruyor.
every single unique item comes with custom art to match.
Of şahane duruyor.
The last character progression system that you can do during the campaign is Ascension. Starting in Act 2, you will come across Ascension trials, tests that you must complete to unlock your Ascension class. We'll explain these trials soon, but first let's take a look at what Ascending can do for your character. Each
Lab
class
yok,
has access
labı
to 3
kaldırdılar.
Ascendancy classes, but at the start of Early Access, only 2 per class will be available.
Tamam normalde 3
Ascendancy
ama
classes
artık
are
2
unique
tane
to each
olacak.
character
Bu
class, so choose
uzmanlık
wisely.
alanı oluyor.
They
Peto
can
Güzel
drastically
1'deki
affect how you build
Ascendancy.
your character.
Peto Güzel 2'de ise merceneri 2 farklı
As a
şekilde
sorceress, you could become a
sınıflandırabiliyorsun.
storm a
Uzmanlaştırabiliyorsun.
master of the elements. Tempest
Sorcerer
Caller causes
istersen bu
elemental
şekilde
storms to be
ilerliyorsun.
summoned each time you do
İstersen
a critical
ikinci
hit with a spell.
Ascendancy ile ilerliyorsun. Farklılıklar
With
var böyle.
Strike twice, you can stack 2 copies of Shock for more damage. And going deeper into the tree, you can make all your damage types apply Shock. Make a Shock build from any skill.
Tamam Peto Güzel 1'deki
Alternatively, you could become a
çok eder
Chronomancer
diyor.
and command time itself. She
Diğeri de
literally
aslında.
has the ability to stop time with Time Freeze.
Ha, bu
Not
da
only that,
Culture.
she has many other time manipulation
Gold
abilities.
gideceksen bu
Using
Ascendancy,
Temporal Rift, she can teleport back to a
Lightning
previous
gideceksen
location,
diğer
resetting
Ascendancy
her life
gibi.
and mana back to what it was. Or with Time Snap, she can reset all her cooldowns and cast all her spells again.
Ne diyorsun ya? 15
On
dolar
the
mı?
Warrior, you can choose between the
Early
Warbringer or the
Access. Bir
Titan.
dakika.
The Warbringer
Neyse
channels the
şu
might
yayın
of his
bitsin aynen.
ancestors to
Yayın
gain
bitsin öyle
tremendous power.
konuşuruz. Early Access fiyatı mı
Using
açıklandı?
Answered Call, you can summon
Steam'de
ancestral
15
spirits linked
dolar.
to each of your
Oy
totems.
çok iyi.
With Jade Heritage,
bölgesel
you can encase
fiyatlandırma
your body in a
olmayacak dediler o
protective
kadar.
layer that absorbs all
Süper
damage until it
abi.
breaks. Warcaller's Bellow allows you to explode the
Oğlum
corpses of your
yandan çeksek
enemies.
mi?
And with Great Wolf's Howl,
Çabuk
you can
zam
ignore the
gelmeden.
cooldowns of your war cries. Let all that anger out. The Titan class is all about hitting big. With Earthbreaker, every slam is a chance to create an aftershock.
Earthbreak.
With crushing
Okay.
impacts, every hit becomes a crushing
Down
blow,
dun yeri
which will allow you
80.
to stun your enemies with ease.
Bu. Oğlum
With
botun
surprising
güzelliğine
strength,
bak.
you can take advantage of stunned enemies to deal 40% more damage. As a ranger, you might choose to be a Deadeye, an expert markswoman who can take down foes with style. With endless munitions, every
15
attack
dolar
ends an
kaç
extra
para yapıyor lan?
projectile.
750 TL mi yapıyor?
With Gathering Winds, she gains a small increase to movement speed with every attack. But be careful, she loses them when getting hit.
Tamam. Değilmiş
With Eagle
gelmiş.
Eyes, she will never miss, allowing you to stop wasting all those passive points on
Herhangi bir
accuracy.
şekilde akurasiye ihtiyacım yok artık.
Alternatively, you could become a
Uzaktaysan.
Pathfinder, the master of flasks and poison.
Pathfinder biraz daha full
She can
askıda.
choose
Flask
from one of
yok ya
several
bunun.
throwable concoctions,
Flask'la ne
allowing her
yapacak
to
bu?
spend her flask
Bakalım
charges to throw
izliyoruz.
explosive bottles that deal various
550
types of
falan
damage.
yapıyor diyorsunuz tamam.
A bleeding concoction will make
Epic'ten
your
daha
enemies
ucuz o
bleed,
zaman.
while a
Nasıl
fulminating
ya?
one can shock your enemies, allowing you to do extra damage.
Çok iyi.
Contagious Contamination allows her to spread poisons between her foes, while Overwhelming Toxicity doubles the number of stacks they can be infected by. Running Assault allows her to move much more quickly while firing, while Relentless Pursuit makes her totally immune to being
Yandan
slowed by
Steam'e
enemies.
gidiyorum falan.
The Witch can ascend into the Infernalist or the Blood Mage. As an Infernalist, she can summon a loyal Hellhound companion. The Hellhound sets enemies on fire, as well as taking a percentage of the damage if the Infernalist gets hit. With Pyromantic Pact, you can turn your mana into Infernal Flame. As you cast more spells, the flame builds up, and if it overflows, you'll take
Abi
damage.
çok şahane ya. Oğlum
Using
çok iyi
Bringer
lan.
of Flame, you'll
Clear'a
want to
bak.
make sure you keep the flames topped up. While your Infernal Flame is above 30%,
Oğlum
all
bir
damage
vuruyor
from you
bütün
and your
alana
minions will
vuruyor.
ignite
O nasıl
enemies.
skiller?
She can also transform into a literal demon.
Ne
While in
diyorsun?
demon form, she takes an increasing amount of damage.
Aa,
But her cast speed and damage increase
lan
rapidly
demona
as well.
dönüştü.
So if you're planning on transforming into a
Aa.
demon, make sure you stack a lot of life recovery.
Oha.
She can also become a blood mage, a master of life and energy. All blood mages must pay the price of making skills cost life as well as mana. But in exchange,
Tamam,
every
life
monster they
değil de
kill will
mana
drop
harcayacak
life
şey. Mana
radiance,
değil de
which
life
allow them to
harcıyor
quickly
artık.
gain back that life.
Güzel. Vladimir
With
mi
Crimson
geldi?
Power, she can gain large amounts of extra life, and with Vitality Siphon, she can use her spells to
Uçuyor bu
leech
Sabri
life
Bey,
back
ne
as well.
yapıyorsunuz?
Once you've got a significant amount of life, you can use Gore Spike to make your critical hits deal incredible amounts of damage. A monk
Life
who is in
başına
tune with the
kritik
elements might
damage
become
veriyor.
an
Ne
invoker.
diyorsun?
With Elemental Expression, the invoker will create waves of elemental power each time he does a critical strike. With Faith as a choice,
Aslan Nasi
you gain
biraz
the
daha
ability to
skill'ler
meditate, allowing you
üzerinde.
to double your energy
Yeah.
shield. Choose between I am the blizzard or I am
Enerjini
the thunder
double'lıyor mu?
to
Ne
specialize
diyorsun
in
ya?
cold or lightning.
Of of of.
And I Shall Rage will allow you to turn into an unbound avatar. Each time you apply a status ailment to an enemy, you gain Unbound Fury. When you have enough, transform into an avatar to deal way more damage and inflict even more elemental ailments.
Her
Some monks
yaratığa
choose to reach
vurduğunda
into the
öfke
darkness
çıkarıyor, öfke
instead.
topluyorsun.
The
Sonra da
Acolyte of
bunlarla bir
Chayula
şekilde
can
avatar
exchange their
yaratıyorsun
mastery of
dedi ama.
spirit for darkness, a resource that can be utilized to both absorb and deal damage.
Ha,
The
Spirit'ini
Shroud of
Darkness'a
Darkness will
çeviriyor.
protect you from
Darkness ne
all damage
yapıyor?
incoming. But if you take Grasp of the Void, you will deal extra chaos damage from all the darkness
Abi
you have.
Monk çok hızlı lan.
Their Dark Pact offers greatly increased resistances to chaos damage and can allow their mana leech to not only happen instantly, but apply to their energy shield as well. Another node you can take is Waking Dream,
Xbox'a
which
Point
allows you to see into the
support'u
domain of the
eklemişler.
Breach
Kaç para?
Demons. There you will see
Xbox'a
the
kaç
Flames of
para?
Chayula that can be taken to gain life, mana, and damage.
Lan oğlum.
The mercenary has a job to
Yabancılar
do,
oyunu
but which
konuşuyor.
job
Biz
suits you?
Türkler
You might choose to become a witch hunter.
fakirliğimizin gözü kör olsun ya.
Obsessive
Garibanlığın gözü
rituals
kör
will give you
olsun.
a
Herkes
sorcery
para
ward,
konuşuyor
allowing
ya.
you to defend yourself against elemental hits in exchange
Ay
for less
Xbox'a
defense against
1030 lira
attacks.
mı? Oğlum bırakın ne oyunu
With Zealous
konuşalım.
Inquisition, your
Şeyden
enemies have a
sonra
10%
bakarız.
chance to
Şeyden.
explode
Şunu
on
bir
death.
izleyek.
The chance is doubled against demons and undead. With
Steam'de
Judge,
500
Jury, and
lira bayağı iyi
Executioner,
lan bu arada
your
yarı
initial
fiyatı.
hit
Neyse
against
dur
enemies
oğlum
can
beni
deal
de
up
bak
to
kendinize
30% of their
halledin.
life and damage, if you're lucky. This is great for hunting
Steam'de
powerful
15
bosses.
dolar bayağı iyi.
And with Witchbane, you can break your enemy's concentration, preventing them from casting spells as often as they would usually do. You could also choose to become a Gemling Legionnaire, enhancing your abilities by embedding gems
Bu da
directly in your
Gemling,
flesh.
Gemling Legionnaires.
Integrated efficiency will give you extra skill slots.
3 tane daha
Dermatological
skill slot.
infusion gives you extra maximum resistances as you sock up more and more support gems.
Maximum
Adaptive
disease.
capability allows you to use any color of gem without worrying about attributes, while crystalline potential adds extra quality bonuses to every gem
Ergenli
socketed into your
12
character.
quality.
So those are the Ascendancy classes for the start of early access. But one thing we haven't talked about yet is how you ascend in the first place. Ascension in Path of Exile 2 requires completion of one of the great trials,
Trial
which you'll
yapacağım
find as you
diyor.
progress through the
Lab-
campaign.
Lab mı acaba?
Each one is associated
Lab
with one of
kalktı
the
diye
major
biliyorum.
cultures of Rayclast. Located in the Vasteri Plains are the Maraketh, a culture of rich tales and brutal traditions, who must do whatever it takes to survive in the desert. The highest position in Maraketh culture is a Sekima, and it is not a title given freely.
Asyanlar siyah
All
almak için
aspirants
buraya
must
gireceğiz.
complete the trial of the Sekimas, a grueling gauntlet that will test their strength, will, cunning, and patience. To enter, a warrior of the Maraketh must prove their worth by trapping the soul of a djinn in a coin, and you are no different. Once you have earned your coin, it may be placed in the relic altar to begin the trial. In the trial of the Sekimas, each room has its own challenges to overcome. In this room, each rare monster you kill will send its blood to the chalice in the center of the room. Once the chalice is filled, you will be able to
Ya
proceed.
Lab işte ya. Lab'ın
While
ismi
fighting
değişmiş.
monsters in the trial, you will
Yok,
need to
yok,
be
laf
very
o.
careful.
Asyanlar
Each
siyah
hit will not
halletmek
only
için.
hurt you, but will damage your honor. The monsters are well telegraphed, so that you can avoid their attacks, but if you run out of honor, you will fail the trial and need to find another coin in order to try again. It is a good idea to make sure that you are well prepared before challenging the trial of the
Ya o
Sekimas.
Ustalığı beleş vermek istemiyorlar demek ki.
After each room, you will be rewarded. In this case, you have been given a key that can be used to unlock chests later in the trial. Once you have claimed your reward, you will be shown a map of the rest of the floor and may choose how you wish to proceed. Which
Lap bu
challenges would you like to
bildiğin.
face?
Lap
And
bu.
which rewards do you want to claim? Some rooms are more dangerous, afflicting you with debuffs that will persist for the entire trial. For example,
Şey
entering
gibi oldu,
this room will afflict you
Spider-Man
with
var ya,
spiked
gözlüğü
shell that
çıkarmadan
will cause
önce.
all
Abi bu
monsters in the
farklı
rest
bir
of the
şey
trial
herhalde
to
ya.
have
Gözlüğü
50%
takınca
increased
laf
life. You will want to take care if you choose such a path.
ya da
There are
Yazılan
many different
Sanctum mu
challenges
bu?
and
Bir
rewards as you
dakika.
journey through the trial.
Evet
Deadly
Sanctum
traps,
da olabilir.
waves of monsters, and strange artifacts will test your honor. As you progress, you'll be able to gain boons from the Jinn, which will
Random
help
mu?
you on your
Tamam ya.
journey.
Sanctum'muş bu,
For
pardon.
example, the Sekima's cloak will
Sanctum'la
revive
aynen
you
lavı
once if you die,
birleştirmişler.
giving you a
Olaya
second
gel.
shot at a run.
İki tane ayrı
One of the
kontak
rewards you may
yerine.
find is sacred water, an extremely
Ultimate
valuable
Sanctum.
and treasured resource to the Jinn and the Maraketh. Trading it with the Jinn will allow you to receive many benefits. You can recover honor, gain additional boons, or remove
Sanctum işte
afflictions.
klasik.
At the end of the floor, you'll find a powerful boss which will
Sanctum
truly test your
dediğimiz yerde
limitations.
bir kere bile
In order to
ölürsen
ascend,
en
you
başa
will need to
dönüyorsun.
defeat him.
En başa yani mahvoluyor bütün progression'ı. Ve zorlu oluyor, bayağı zorlu oluyor. Bayağı zorlu oluyor. Ölüm hakkın yok. Ölmeden bitirirsen de
Having
özel
defeated the boss,
ödüller
you've
var.
earned the right to
Örnek
ascend. But
bitirdin.
first, the loot. The keys you have found may be used to open the
here's
various
the-
treasures in the vault at the end of the floor.
Oğlum Haze,
We
laf
only have a
Sanctum.
single bronze key, so we'll just have to open one of these small chests. If you want to open the better ones, you'll need
Yok
silver or
Lap'ta da
gold
böyle
keys.
chestler vardı.
Let's use the Altar of Ascendancy. Your first ascension will
Tamam
allow you to
burası
pick your
Lap
class
ama
and grant you
Sanctum'la
2 points to use
birleştirilmiş,
in the tree.
birleştirilmiş Lap.
Now, there are more floors and many more rewards that can be found within the Trial of the Sekimas, but we'll save that for the section on the endgame. For now, let's talk about the second Ascendancy trial, the Trial of Chaos. In Path of Exile 2, you can choose whichever trial you like to earn your ascension. Each culture on Rayclast had their own methods to ascend. If the Trial of the Sekimas is not your kind of playstyle, or you're finding it too difficult, you could try
Karışık
another.
varsa yükle,
You can
aynen
gain all
öyle.
your ascension points from just one, or mix and match them. It's up to you. For early access, we will have 2 trials as options, with a 3rd trial coming later for the full release. While exploring the Vaal jungle, you'll discover the Temple of Chaos. Before the Vaal embraced the science of corruption, their civilization worshipped chaos. This ancient trial was
Abi
once used by the Vaal to
şahane
test their
ya.
high priests. A high priest of the Vaal must show willingness to risk everything to gain power. Entry to the
Real
trial requires a
Master.
token from a strange entity known only as the
Ultimatum.
Trial Master. For those in which he sees potential, he shall inscribe an ultimatum.
Aga
Many have
Çin
attempted these trials in
tankı.
search of greatness. Most have perished. Will you be able to defy the odds? Before you begin each chamber, the Trial Master will offer you a reward and a choice. Choose one of 3 tribulations to affect you through the
Aha
rest of the trial.
ultimatum gelmiş.
These modifiers might beef up the
Ultimatum
monsters,
üzümlü kekim.
curse the player,
Tamam.
or add environmental
Yeter
hazards like
güzellikle
turrets or
başlasın.
trap runes.
AFK build'ini
In this
yapıp
case, we'll be
ultimatum
picking
farmına
shocking
oturuyoruz
turrets.
beyler. Bu ne abi? İçeride ölme risk... Bir dakika lan bu
As
da
you
belki
enter the
ben.
room,
Dur
the Trial Master
gözlüğü
will
taktık
fill it
abi
with hazards to
Spider-Man
test your
gözlüğünü.
commitment. In this case, you must destroy all the monsters that fill the room, while
Bütün
dealing with the
yaratıkları
lightning projectiles
öldürdü.
from
Bir
the
dakika
shocking
lan
turrets.
ultimatum bildiğin değiştirmişler. Ne bu? Ultimatum'da da bir kere bile ölme hakkın yoktu Peto Exile 1'de. Ölürsen GG oluyor, loot alamıyorsun. Ama ölmeden ilerleyip bitirirsen de loot alıyorsun. Lootları da çok güzel lootlar bu arada. İyi yani Divine kastıran lootlar.
After each room, you will need to make a choice. Take the rewards you have earned so far, or go double or nothing. Increase your rewards, but take on more risk. Each tribulation you add is minor on its own, but they quickly stack on top of each other and can
Oğlum
become
araya
overwhelming.
ayırmışlar ultimatumu. Her araya girerken
There are
bu ne
many types of
biliyorsunuz
chambers in
mu?
the
Ödül
trial.
geliyor
Each
tamam mı
will test your
devam mı?
resolve in different
Round
ways.
2'de ben
This one
alacağımı
simply
alıp
requires you
scroll
survive
gideceğim
for a
diye
certain
biliyorsun.
amount of time.
Ya da diyorsun ki 3. için
Another
o
requires you to
ödül
escort
için
the
bir daha
stone idol
savaşacağım.
through the
Ama
levels,
ölürsen dediğim
elevators full
gibi
of
diğer
monsters
ödüller de
descend to
gidiyor.
attack you. Should you be
Yani,
able to get through the first
oğlum
3
nasıl
chambers,
bakalım?
you will face your first boss. The order of the bosses is random, and combined with the tribulations you have selected, the fight will never feel the same. After defeating the boss, you may claim your rewards. Of course there are the items, but you also gain the
Diğer
right to
reward.
ascend.
İşte burada ya reward'ı al siktir
If you
diyor
already did the
ya
trial
da
in
diyor
the
ki daha
second, then you
iyisi
can claim
için
2 more points to
savaşmaya
add to your
devam et.
ascendancy class.
Ve bunu Asyan
Now, it's
Nazi'ye
possible to
getir.
go much deeper. There are
Oğlum
more
bunlar ne
bosses,
yaptılar lan?
rewards, and risks to take, but we'll talk more about that when we get to endgame.
Asyan Nazi pointi
So
mi
how
aldı
about we
o?
talk about that now?
Oğlum Asyan
So far, we've only been showing you footage from the campaign, but
Sonunun
some people
böyle
would argue that
olmasını
the endgame
beklemiyordum.
is where the game truly begins. Something that happens almost every time a new action RPG launches is people saying, there isn't enough endgame content. Well, we want to make sure that in PoE 2, people don't feel that way. And we
İşte
actually
geliyor
only changed our
endgame.
development priority
İşte
for this recently.
geliyor.
The first 3 acts of PoE 2 already take around 25 hours to complete if you're a new player.
25 saat.
This is
Evet.
already a pretty significant campaign. On the other hand, you'll spend
Hundreds of
hundreds of
hours.
hours in endgame each league. We realized that finishing the rest of the campaign for early access was actually a bad idea. Instead of having acts 4 to 6 in early access, we could concentrate on endgame and make that great. For new players,
Early
a
access'te
25-hour campaign is
4-5
already a
saat
huge
olmayacak
game
artık.
with lots of content. But for
25
existing
saat
action
oğlum
RPG
buna niye
players, what you
şaşırıyorum? Ben
mostly
size
care about is all the
söylemiştim
endgame
zaten.
challenges
30
to
saat
overcome.
demiştim geçen gün.
So several months ago,
Bir
we switched
önceki
the
yayınlara
entire
gelen
development team's
videoları
focus
izleyenler
over to
biliyor
making
zaten.
endgame
Hiç
content.
şaşırmadı bile. Samet zaten bunu
At the
demişti
start of
diye.
early access, there will be 50 bosses and around 400 monster types. But the great thing is that the rest of the game is like 80% there.
Early
We'll be
Access'te
adding
50 boss
content to
olacak
roughly
dedi değil
double
mi?
the size of the
Doğru
game
duydum.
during early access and into release. Now, in order to make the endgame happen at the same character level
Okay
as what it would
abiyle
be
2
after we
saat
added the rest of the
rahatta
acts, we've added a second difficulty level called Cruel, where you repeat the campaign with all the monsters and bosses leveled up. And of course, new rewards. You can kind of think of it as like a new game plus. It's also a lot
Aferin.
faster to get through the content the second time as your clear speed increases. That will take you to around level 65, where the endgame begins. Once we add the remaining 3 acts, we'll be removing Cruel difficulty, so you'll progress straight from the end of Act 6 to endgame.
Daha demin duyan var mı? 50
What is
boss
the
dedi
endgame?
değil mi?
To explain that, I'll hand over to Mark. He can tell you all about it.
Aha geldik en önemli kısma.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Well, one thing that Path of Exile is known for is having a lot of distinct endgame content to choose between. Each endgame mechanic needs to have its own progression system, areas, bosses, rewards, and player power that can only be gained from that content. We are going to be adding a lot more over time, but for
50
Path of
boss,
Exile 2 we
mükemmel,
decided to
50
start with
boss.
7 distinct systems you can progress through.
This is the Atlas, and it serves as the
Atlas'a
core
bak.
of the endgame for
Atlas'mış
Path of
doğru
Exile 2.
tahmin.
It's infinite and expands in all directions. Now, we are not going to spoil the plot too much here, but corruption from the beast has blighted the land, and your objective is to help fight it. In the center of the Atlas, you will find the Ziggurat, a temple in which the Val research the fundamentals of space and time. Here, we can open portals to nearby locations and begin cleansing corruption and finding resources. In order to power the portal device, we will need Waystones. Each Waystone has a
Infinite mi
tier
dedi?
which will determine the level of the monsters that you will face. To go to an area, simply click one that is adjacent to an area
Waystone,
that
yani
you have
map
already
mi?
completed. Insert the
Map
Waystone and
açıyoruz.
click Traverse.
Okay, map.
Portals will open, allowing you and your
Tamam
party to
map
travel to the
baştan
area
açtık
you have
map'i.
selected.
Klasik.
All the areas in the endgame feel distinct from the locations in the campaign,
Oha,
and we have
monk
dialed the
başlıyorum ben ama.
randomization up to 11.
Bu ne oğlum,
The monster
flicker bu.
packs you will face in each map are totally random,
O
and the
neydi
combination
oğlum?
of them can lead to some
Süper
very
ya.
interesting combat situations. There are over 400 monster types in early
Abi
access,
Peto
and
güzel,
they have
ipi
a
yavaş
lot of
olacak
varied and
diyenler.
interesting abilities.
Olivia'nla
Depending on
göt
which
oldu mu?
combinations you face, you might find some serious
Olivia'nla
challenges.
göt oldu mu?
In order to cleanse the corruption from the area, you will need to defeat
Oğlum
all
bu
the powerful,
ne?
rare, and unique
Gördünüz mü
enemies
o
in it.
flicker'ı?
Once you have done that, the area will be marked as completed and you will be able to travel past it to progress deeper into the world. If you die, then the map can no longer be run, and you will have to find another way around to get to the areas behind it. There are also all kinds of other random encounters
Shrine.
you might run into as you play maps. One such encounter
Evet,
are
evet,
precursor
Monster, Flicker'dı.
artifacts. These are
Flicker
ancient,
skill'i.
corrupting monuments that irradiate the monsters around them. The monsters that feed off the corruption are drawn to their power. If you defeat the monsters and cleanse the artifact, you will get a powerful temporary buff. Some of the buffs make you faster, others rain lightning or fire around you, and some even give you increased experience or
shrine
help
var,
you find
okey.
better items.
Shrine ne
You can
oluyor
also
abi?
find
Buff'u
strong
veriyor sana.
boxes. These
Hayvan gibi
enigmatic
vurmaya
chests guard
başlıyorsun.
piles of treasure, but are always a trap. Monsters lie in wait to attack you the
Strong
moment you
box
open
var,
it,
tamam,
and the boxes
klasik.
often have mechanisms to unleash
Strong box
powerful
açıyorsun,
spells or
içinden
dangerous
yaratıklar çıkıyor
debuffs.
ve hepsini
There are different
kestikten
types of
sonra
strong
yere
boxes
itemler
containing
atıyor.
different
Bakalım
items,
nasıl
and you can
getirmişler
even use your
pointleri.
currency items to craft them on the fly, so you can optimize the contents. But be careful of opening one you can't handle.
$45 paket aldım, direkt zam gelecek ona. Belli zam gelmeden düşünen varsa alsın.
Sometimes you'll discover monsters
$45
frozen in
paket alan
essences,
bizde alalım. Yayını
solidified
siktir et
crystalline
oğlum, dur.
corruption. These dangerous monsters can be broken free.
Oğlum durun
If
lan,
you
bir
defeat
yayınmışsın.
them, the essence they drop can be
Bakacağız.
used to upgrade normal items to magic items with a guaranteed
Var
mod
yeri
from the
gariban
category.
ama. Baksana yavaş yavaş gidiyor. Gariban.
For example,
Aha,
we could
esans
use
var.
this one on some boots to ensure a
Esans da
movement speed mod.
getirmişler. Of 35 movement speed.
Rarely,
Çok
essences
hızlı
will
olacağız
also
yine.
drop that allow
Petrogzel
you to upgrade
1'deki
magics
hız.
to rares, adding the
Petrogzel
guaranteed
1'de de
mod.
35 moment max'tı.
This is incredibly powerful
Esas
since it
ne
allows you
oluyor
to get
abi?
a second deterministic
İtemleri
mod in your
atıyorsun.
crafting
Oha bir dakika
projects.
mod ekliyor.
Combining
Come
these
on
with the
dude.
currencies that are
Mod
commonly
ekliyor.
found at rate
Oha.
cost for modifying
O
items,
satmıyor lan,
and we
direkt
can
mod
get a very
ekliyor.
nice pair of boots indeed.
Çok iyi lan.
Waystones,
Esans
like all
değişmiş.
items, can also be crafted using your currency items. Adding prefix mods will improve the rewards, while
Aldığımız
suffix mods
maplerin
increase
ismi
danger.
Waystone olmuş. Bu
The more
Waystone'ları
dangerous
da
a map
klasik
is, the more Waystones will
modlayabiliyorsun.
drop.
Hani endgame
Adding mods to your
haritalarını, hani
Waystones is key to
Diablo'dan
progressing to
gelenler
higher
varsa
tiers
endgame
and sustaining
haritalarını bu
them,
şekilde biz
but it will require you to
değiştirebiliyoruz.
take on larger challenges.
Değişik görüntülerle değiştirip
There
bu
are a
şekilde daha
variety of
zorlu
factors you have
yapabiliyoruz.
to
Ama
consider
bunun
when
etkisi
crafting your
olarak da item
waystones.
rarity
Some
vesaire
maps will
artıyor.
have
Daha
higher
fazla item
density,
alıyoruz.
some lower, some have more magic and rare chests, or monsters, some are more linear, and others more open. Make sure you explore and think about what makes certain maps good if you want to maximize your returns.
Abi bu demon
As
harikaymış
you cleanse
ya.
corruption from higher and higher tiers of the Atlas, you will gain points that you can
Atlas
spend
aç,
in the
Atlas
Atlas
aç,
tree.
Atlas
This
aç.
tree allows you to juice the danger and rewards of all
Oğlum çok
areas in the
küçük lan
endgame.
Atlas.
You could increase the number of monsters, the number of rares, the number of precursor
Oğlum Atlas
artifacts
çok
or strong
küçük lan.
boxes, even the quantity of item drops. As you explore the in-game world map, you'll notice various different biomes. From snow-capped
Burada bir
mountains
Endless,
to dense jungle
Infinite bir
valleys.
endgame var.
Most maps
Okey.
are restricted to certain biomes. As you continue to explore deeper into the Atlas, there are all sorts of things to discover. These cities are constructed by different peoples of Rayclast and have specific items that can be found there. These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them later. You might find unique maps like Untainted Paradise, an undisturbed island full of beasts that give an extreme amount of experience. You may even find a lonely man just enjoying his retirement who will give you a unique item for free. In addition, you can
şey lan.
find special areas that would make a good spot to set up camp.
Ya Peto Güzel
Clear
Birlik
these
çok
areas of
fazla
their
şey
hostile
eklemişler biliyorsunuz
inhabitants,
mu?
and you'll
Peto
be able to
Güzel
claim
Birlik'te.
them
Çok
as your
güzel.
own hideout. You can decorate your hideout as you see fit and invite various NPCs to join you there to create your
Aynen,
own personal
Nameless'ı
base of
eklemişler.
operations. A great tool for exploration are towers. These mysterious precursor constructs are dotted around the Atlas. Completing the tower will reveal a large area around it, allowing you to scout out your next challenge. There are lots of things to find, so keep looking. Some sections of your Atlas are influenced by
Oğlum
corruption.
reklamı
This
otomatik
adds
atıyor. Ben
extra
atmıyorum lan.
modifiers to the maps in the
Vallahi
region,
bak.
increasing difficulty and rewards. Here, slaying monsters in close
Abone
proximity to
olun
each other
isterseniz
will cause the
45 liraya.
vestiges of
Ya da
corruption within them
bilmiyorum
to merge
turbo alın
together,
komple
forming
bütün
powerful and
Twitch'lere şey
grotesque
alın. Maalesef
abominations.
kapatamıyorum.
You
Keşke
may have noticed while
kapatılabilse.
looking at the Atlas that some of the areas have these icons above them. The icon indicates that the area contains some kind of special encounter. This icon indicates that the area has a powerful boss. Because only 1 in 4 maps contain a map boss, we are able to make them very powerful
Oha
and
oğlum
very
ne pis
rewarding.
vurdu lan.
These bosses come
Bütün
from the
arayayı
campaign, but have
patlattı
had their difficulty
granitlerle.
increased with changes to AI and some of their abilities. It's worth noting that because you can see where the bosses are, you can choose to take them on or avoid them. If you do choose to hunt bosses though, then you will be rewarded with special points for the boss hunting section of the Atlas skill tree. The
Atlas'ın
points
böyle
here will
ayrı
allow you to
ayrı
specialize in
olması
boss
doğru mu
killing, giving
ya?
you much greater rewards for defeating them.
Reklamları kapatamıyorum.
For
Keşke
each different type of
kapatabilsem.
content in the
Maalesef
endgame, we
kapanmıyor.
are adding
Abone
specialized
olun
trees in order to
isterseniz.
make it so you don't feel the need to
Keşke
respec your points when
kapatabilsem
you
yani.
change between
Ama
different types of
kapatılmıyor.
content. We will be showing you
Atlas bu
7 of
şekilde
these by
olmuş.
the end of this presentation, so there is
Girişi
still a lot
ayrı.
more to come. Bosses are
Bu
not the
sağ
only
üst
icon you will
Delirium'da
see on the
herhalde.
Atlas. Let's take a
Breach
look
var.
at one of the in-game
Breach'i doğru tahmin
systems,
ettik bu
Breach.
arada.
If you played PoE 1, you might be familiar with Breach. For PoE 2, we have created sequels to several PoE 1 leagues. While the mechanic is familiar, the monsters, bosses, rewards, and progression are all new. A breach is a tear in the fabric of reality. Opening it will allow you to see the demons and otherworldly monstrosities
güzel
that
bir
lie
de
in wait on this other plane of
bu
existence.
eli
By
açarsan
engaging with a
farklı bir
breach, you'll create a bridge
alemden
between their
yaratıklar
world
geliyor.
and
O yaratıkları
Breakfast.
fıtı fıtı
In order to keep the
kesiyorsun.
breach open, you will
Sonra da
need to kill
loot'unu
the
alıyorsun.
demons that pour forth. The faster you can kill the
Bunların da
monsters,
özel
the
lootları
more
var.
monsters
Özel
you will fight, and the
map
more loot
yerleri
you will
vardır.
find. You can also find clasped hands that will open and
Birisi
drop more
onlar
items
gibi.
if you run over them. These can be a good boost to the rewards of the breach, so keep an eye out. One of the rewards that you may find while fighting monsters from Breach are tablets. Tablets are special items that can be used with precursor towers to add more encounters to the Atlas. Breaches will drop breach
Kuleye
tablets.
geldi. Kuleler
Clicking
ne
on a
abi?
completed tower will allow you to consume the tablet to add more breaches to areas within range of the tower. This makes all the content in the Atlas self-sustaining. Want to do more breaches? Find the tablets, add them to your towers, get more
Ha,
breaches,
bir
getting
yere
more
sürekli
tablets. Soon your
farmlayabileceksin
Atlas will be
yani o
covered in
tavırları
otherworldly
geliştirerek.
domains. In
Tavırları
addition,
geliştirerek
like
o
all
araya
items
da
in PoE, you can
sürekli
craft
devam
them. Use
edebileceksin.
your currency to
Sadece
add mods
bir
to your
araya da
tablets,
takılmak
allowing you
istiyorsa.
to upgrade all the breaches in
Sana
range.
bırakmışlar.
Tablets can have up to 2 mods. These mods do things like adding extra rare monsters, extra clasped hands, or even monster density of breaches, allowing you to keep them open longer. Often, you will find multiple towers near to each other with overlapping areas of effect. This can allow you to really juice the mechanic by stacking the mods from multiple tablets.
3
In
tane
your fight to
tavırla
hold the breach
mapleri
demons at bay,
buffladı.
you may
Sonra o
want to use the
maplerde
powers of
hayvan
their
gibi
world against them.
zorlaştırdı.
Each in-game mechanic always has player power that can only be gained from that mechanic, and Breach is no different. In Breach, you will find catalysts, items that can increase the quality of rings and amulets by
Katalistleri de
improving specific
şeyleri
mods.
koymuşlar abi.
You can also find
Breach'e
Breach
koymuşlar.
Rings, a special base type that can have its quality improved by
Katalist
catalysts
ne
up to
yapıyor?
50%.
İtemlerin,
In this case, you could create a
kualitesini
ring with around
arttırıyorsun.
170
Bu
life.
sefer de
Breach rings
atıyorum
can become
itemde
some
bir
of the strongest
life
rings in the
modu
game,
varsa o
giving you some
life
good
modunu
motivation to
arttırabiliyorsun
face the demon
kualiteyi de
hordes.
50
In
kualiteyle
addition,
oğlum.
each in-game mechanic
50
needs to have a
Normalde
pinnacle
20
in-game
idi.
encounter. While killing Breach monsters, you may find Breach Splinters. Collect enough of these and you'll be
Aynen
able to
biri
create a
splinterları
Breach
da
Stone.
toplarsan biri stone
Using a
oluyor.
file
Onların ayrı
technology
bir
called the
alemine
Realm Gate,
gidiyorsun.
you can use your Breachstone to access their domain and bring the fight to them. In
Biri
this
stone'a
twisted
girdi
domain, you
şimdi.
will find nothing but a
Biri
single
stone'da da
massive
özel,
breach.
sadece
Triggering it
oranın
will reveal
özel
hordes
dropları
of breach
oluyor.
inhabitants.
Sadece oradan düşen, başka hiçbir yerden bulunamayan özel minikleri var. Abi Flicker ya.
And should you be fast enough, you will be able to fight their leader, Zesht. We that are
Aynen.
one.
Orayı yine kesiyorsun. En sona gelince özel boss'u var. Abi Çayula'ya bakar mısın ya? Yani bu Breach boss'una bakar mısın? Ne kadar şahane. Bir de bu sadece Zest'in. Diğerleri de var. 4 tane. Allah Allah. Of. Evet arkadaşlar, bunu bilmeyenler için şöyle söyleyeyim. Shadow Exil'deki sadece bir tane contentin 4 tane boss'undan bir tanesi bu. Yani sadece bir gelen ufak contentin bile ayrı boss'ları var. Ve onları ayrı ayrı böyle yapmışlar.
We still have the progression system. Defeating Zesht will give you points to allocate into the breach section of the Atlas tree. Allocating these points will make breaches and the breach
Bu
domain even
eskileri
harder,
bilenler
but
varsa
will give you
eskiden
more
Breach
rewards.
yeri
The
vardı,
small nodes will increase the
alma
difficulty
yeri
of the
vardı.
twisted
Ona biraz
domain, while the
benzemişler
large
gibi.
nodes have
En
more
eski
specific
Shadow
bonuses.
Exil'i
For
bilenler
example,
varsa.
this node adds
Ama
more
Atlas
clasped
biraz daha
hands to your
büyük
breaches
olabilirmiş
and
yani.
adds a pack of magic monsters that can
Çok
guard
az
them. Get some more
özelleştirilebiliyor
points
gibi
and you can
geliyor.
allocate Waking Nightmare, which
Double
will double the
splinter
number of
veriyor,
splinters you
okay.
get from clasped hands, and inflict you with a mysterious debuff. In order to earn more points, you will need to defeat Zesht at a higher difficulty, and some rewards from Zesht can only be found by increasing the difficulty of the Twisted Domain above certain thresholds. Defeating Zesht at difficulty 4 will be a challenge indeed,
Boss'un,
but there are many
oha,
more threats in
bu ne amına?
Breakfast. Ritual
Tamam,
altars
boss'un
are sacrificial
farklanamayan
sites
şeyleri olacak.
built by the
Maymun'un
mysterious
şempanzesi
king in the
gibi
mists.
düşünebilirsiniz. Maymun'un
If you
şempanzesi
encounter
asla
this symbol on the
tanklanamıyordu.
atlas, then
Birkaç
you know
boyut
that
hariç.
the area contains ritual altars.
Ama
Ritual
onun gibi
altars
mekanikler
demand tribute.
getirmişler bosslara.
Every
İlla
monster
onun
you slaughter
mekaniğini
in the
yapıp
circle
ona
will
göre hareket
feed the
etmen
altar.
lazım. Bossların
After the
özel
sacrifice,
yetenekleri var.
touch it
Sen
to begin the
tanklanamıyor.
ritual. The monsters you just killed will be resurrected by the King of the Mist's dark magic, and you must fight to survive.
Abi ritüel çok
The
güzel
tribute you have
gözüküyor.
offered to the altar can be spent to buy powerful items, but
Oğlum,
they
beş
can be
tane
expensive.
beş
To gain
tane
more
şey mi?
tribute, you will want to find more altars. Each successive ritual you do within an area will spawn the monsters revived by the
Biraz
previous ones,
Affliction
in addition
havası
to
da
the
aldım
ones you
ben ya.
sacrificed.
Affliction'la
By the end of an area, you'll be
birleştirdiler mi
fighting
lan
a
yoksa?
truly
King
imposing
Kingdom
number of
falan da
foes,
dedi.
but will have a significant amount of tribute to spend.
Evet, en güzel
One of the
kısım o.
rewards you can buy with
WASD ile
tribute
bunları
are
yapmak da
omens.
çok keyifli
These are
olacak.
special items that allow for
Omen
meta
gelmiş.
crafting items that affect other crafting items. Have an item with
Your
good
next
prefixes but
exalted
bad
ne yapıyor
suffixes?
dedi?
This omen will help you to remove the mod you don't want while keeping the ones you do. There are a bunch more of these with different effects, but we will leave them for you to discover.
Omen of
Now don't
Greater
forget that
Exalt.
Ritual
O ne
will
lan?
also drop tablets which can be used to specialize into getting
Bunların
more
hepsine
rituals.
tekrar
If
bakacağız,
you want
merak
to get to the
etmeyin.
pinnacle
Yayın
boss of
bitince
Ritual, then you will probably want
Supporter
to
pek
use
olayını
them. They can
hallederiz
also
hemen.
be crafted
Hangisini
to grant
almak
mods,
mantıklı.
making your
Sonra
rituals
YouTube'dan
more
baştan bir daha
rewarding. The
bakacağız.
pinnacle
Alt yazılı
encounter
bir
of
şekilde.
Ritual
Hepsini
is
tek
the
tek
King in the
bakacağız.
Mists. Feared
Yayın
by the
uzun.
Azmeri people, he is said to have brought eternal darkness to the wild
burası
world. We
Affliction.
won't show the encounter, but just like
Affliction
Breach,
bu arada
there are a
oyunun
range of
en
unique items you
beğenilen
can get for
liglerinden bir
defeating
tanesi.
them,
En
and you will
uzun
gain
süre
points in the
oynanan
ritual
ligi.
section of the Atlas
3.
tree.
ayda bile en fazla oynanan
Some
ligi.
maps have been
Onu da
touched by
getirmişler.
insanity. A
Delirium
mysterious entity
şahane
has
bir
taken a
mekanik
special
fakat
interest in
gözleri
you.
mahveden,
Step through the
bilgisayarı
looking glass
bağırtan
and
bir
you will find your
mekanikti. Bakalım
nightmares
nasıl
coming to
yaptılar.
life.
Her yer yeni
When
gri
you
mi?
touch a mirror, the mists of
Geliyoruz,
delirium will spread
bilgisayarımız
out across
bağıracak
the
mı?
area,
Tahmini
affecting your mind. You must
bağıracak.
stay within the mist to maintain the nightmare.
O
Which is
bilgisayar
as
bağıracak,
profitable
tamam
as it
hocam.
is
Yine her
terrifying.
taraf gri
Everything you
oldu.
kill will increase the rewards
Sağdan
that drop.
soldan özel
However,
skill'ler
the
de
deeper into
geliyor.
the mist you travel, the
Bilgisayar
stronger the
bağıracak
monsters
şu an.
are. Be
O
careful not to
kaçarı yok
overstay your welcome.
gibi gözüküyor.
Rare and
İnşallah
unique enemies
optimizasyonu
will become
yapmışlardır.
vessels for terrifying demons who will manifest out of them to
Abi
unleash
yaratıklar
powerful
çok
attacks on
skill
you.
atıyor.
The
Baksana
mist
aşağı
also
attığı
offers a
skill'e.
strange crafting material, distilled emotions. By combining these emotions, you are able to
sesini az
instill your
kıs
amulet
diyorsun.
with a notable from the passive skill
40
tree.
iyi mi şu
This
an?
is like
Şu an iyi
gaining an
mi?
extra
Sesi
passive point
arttırayım
for
mı?
free attached to your gear. They are also particularly great because
Bu
you
light,
don't have to
bu light
traverse the tree to
mekaniğini
get,
birleştirmişler.
allowing you to get
Anoint
off-class
ekliyorsun.
bonuses that would
Pasifleri de
normally be
en
much harder
uzakta
to get.
ulaşamayacağın bir notable'ı
Distilled
alıp
emotions
amuletine
can also be
koyduğunu
used to
düşün.
instill your in-game
Mantık o.
maps, applying
Ama
delirious to them and
deliriumdan
adding
düşen
additional
şeyler de
difficulty
yapacaksın
and
buna.
rewards,
Yani
allowing you to
Blight
further juice your
birleştirmişler.
in-game maps. The tablets you can find from Deliria can
Abi
be
benim
used to
bilgisayarım
further
şimdiden
improve,
bağırmaya
increase
başladı.
pack size, make the fog dissipate slower, or improve your progress towards the pinnacle encounter of
İnşallah
Deliria.
optimizasyonu
Speaking of
ayarlamışlardır
which,
usta.
every now and then you will find
Şu an iyiydi mi
simulacrum
ses?
splinters. The mysterious
Arttırayım mı?
entity will create
Sesi
strange
kısma
encounters
diyenler
based
var.
on warped versions of your own memories.
Bir hafif
Monsters
arttırayım.
and simulacrums come in waves
45
that get
aldım.
progressively more difficult. You will receive loot at the end of each wave, and you will have to make the decision to leave now or continue on, facing up against
özel
even tougher
mekanikler
foes
var
from
artık.
the mist. The bosses you will face as you get deeper into a simulacrum
Aynen,
are truly
aynen
terrifying.
simülakrum bu.
If you can
Simülakrumda
complete
özel
the
bir araya
simulacrum,
geliyorsun
you will
oraya.
gain points for the
Sadece orada
delirium section of
savaşıyorsun
the Atlas
ve
skill tree.
yaratık spamlanıyor kafana. Sen de onları
Next
kesiyorsun,
up,
bir
we
sonraki
have
aşamaya geçiyorsun.
Expedition.
Oğlum ne kadar çok
Occasionally, while
content
clearing
var.
corruption, you will encounter
Aga bak
these
ben
Kal
göt
Gurren
oldum şu an.
cities.
Neden ben
The
1-2
Kal Gurrens have
content
discovered
yalandan
ancient
koyarlar.
burial
Biz
sites
zaten
with
erken
lost
erişimdeyiz
Verisium
usta derler
artifacts, and they
geçerler
want you to
diyordum.
help
Bu ne
dig them
oğlum?
up
Expedition'ı da
with
eklemişler.
explosives. The Kal Gurrens have marked the locations where
Oğlum
the
bunların
relics can be
hepsinin
found.
ayrı bossları
Place
var
explosives
farkındasınız
as
değil
best
mi?
you
Bir
can
için
to
ayrı
dig up as
bossları
many
var
as
4
possible.
tane.
There is just
Delirium'un
one
ayrı 2
Corruption
tane
has brought
boss'u
the
var.
corpses of their ancestors to
Expedition'ın da
life,
özel
so you
bossları
might
var.
have to do a
Yani
little cleanup before you can reclaim the artifacts.
oğlum 1-2 yalandan content atıp geçerler diyordum. Bu ne oğlum?
You can also
Expedition
find
bile koymuşlar.
remnants, the destruction of which will
Expedition
further
ne?
anger the
Bilmeyenler
restless
için
dead. Each one
anlatayım.
you blow up will make the
Böyle bir
subsequent monsters more
patlama
powerful,
yerlerini
but also
koyuyorsun.
more
Sen
rewarding.
seçiyorsun patlanacak yerleri. O
Danik,
patlanacak
Bog,
yerler
Turgeon,
tek tek
and Gwenin will
spamlanıyor,
exchange the
patlıyor
artifacts
ve
for
içinden
useful
özel
items
lootlar
and
düşüyor
runic
bunlar.
magic. You can
Özel
also
lootlar.
find tablets to increase the number of
Özel özel loot.
additions,
Exotic
and the
Coin Ash
rewards.
gibi lootlar
This
düşüyor.
one increases the radius of explosives, while this
Ve
one
bunların
increases
özel
the number
mapleri
of
var.
remnants
O
you will
maplerle
find.
girebiliyorsun.
Eventually, you might discover
Örnek
a
bu.
logbook.
Bunu bile
These are
getirmişler.
special
Logbook
maps for
getirmiş
buried
adamlar.
treasure and relics.
Logbook
Essentially, one
getirmiş, çok iyi.
giant dig site. Here you can create an extremely long chain of explosives and go
Oğlum
through a
yani.
very high number of remnants.
Oğlum
But be
şuna
careful,
bak.
many remnants have mods that can
Logbook
really
ne?
break your build. So you will
Map'te
probably want
expedition
to avoid
yapmıyorsun da
these ones.
sadece
If you add too
expedition
many
olan
remnants,
ayrı bir
you can
harita gibi
easily make the
düşünün.
encounter harder
Sadece
than
böyle
you can
patlamalar
handle. There are
oluyor.
all
Sadece
sorts of
orada
interesting
özel
things
bossları
buried
da
under
var
the ground
tabi.
in logbooks.
Örneğin
You might
Titan
find
yere
dripping
indi. Orada
caves
yüksek ihtimal
and
boss
hidden
olacak.
pirate caches. But the
Özel,
most
aha
powerful
ördek
encounter
boss.
is Olroth, the ancient undead
4
commander
tane
of
de
the Knights of the
expedition
Sun.
boss'u vardı
Defeating
yanlış
him will grant you
hatırlamıyorsam.
unique rewards
Abi
as well as points to spend in the
contentleri
expedition
sadece
section of the
getirmemişler
Atlas
üstüne
tree.
bosslarını da
So
getirmişler.
those are the
Şahane.
endgame systems on the Atlas, but we are not done yet. The trials we talked about earlier have
Endgame
much
hala
more
bitmedi.
content when you get
Hala
to
geliyor
endgame
bir
too.
dünya. Bakalım
Just
ne
like the
olacak.
other endgame systems, they also have progression mechanics, unique rewards, and player power that can only be gained from them. As you get higher level coins for the Trial of the Sycamores, you will unlock more floors to explore. Each floor has
Abi
its
bu
own
ne
challenging
ya?
rooms and a floor boss that you will need to kill.
Abi boss'a bak. Sanctum bossları gibi bu.
There are 4 floors in total, leading to another pinnacle boss at the end of the last floor, which can only be accessed at
Sanctum ya.
endgame. The Trial of the Sycamores is where you'll find jewels, which you can socket into your tree. These are like
Bu
passives
iki
that you can
arkadaş
craft
gelen
with
var
your
mı
currency
diyor Kaya abi,
items.
süper
They can
ya.
be really powerful as they allow you to stack modifiers that may not be easily accessible on the tree normally. This jewel gives lightning damage
Tamam.
and shock chance, for
Buradan da
example.
Jewel'lar
There are
düşüyor.
quite a
Bu
few jewel
Jewel'ları
sockets
da
on the
pasif
tree,
biriyle
so it's
herhangi bir
possible
yere
to gain a
takıyoruz.
lot of power
Bu
here.
biraz kısayım biraz
There are
daha.
also other types of jewels that don't provide any
Bir
bonuses
daha izleyeceğiz
themselves,
zaten arada
but
kaçan
affect
detaylar
other
olursa
passives
şey
surrounding
yaparız
them.
bakacağız.
This jewel increases the effect of small
Bu
nodes and radius
Jewel'lar
by
abi
25%.
şeye koyuyoruz.
With
Böyle Jewel
careful placement
soketleri
in the
var
tree,
tree'de.
you could get
Burada,
a
burada,
significant amount of
aşağıda
power
var.
from it. There
Oralara
are also
koyarak
unique jewels
çeşitli
available with
güçlendirmeler
very
alıyoruz.
interesting effects, but you will have to find those for yourself. In order to push further into the trial and uncover the secrets of the Maraketh, you will want to take advantage of its progression
Sanctum
system.
relikleri var.
Relics.
Bu reliklerle o
Relics are
Sanctum'u
items
daha
that
da
can be
değişik
placed in
hale
the relic altar
sokabiliyoruz.
as
Daha
you
güzel
start the
bufflar
trial. They give
alabiliyoruz o
special bonuses
Sanctum'da.
that affect the
Ama
trial,
ona
making
göre
it
dizayn
easier
edip
and
koymanız
increasing its
lazım.
rewards. Of course, you can craft these with your currency items, making them even
Bunlar
stronger.
normalde craftlanmıyordu.
If
Üstüne
you can complete the
craftlanabilir
entire
olmuş.
trial overcoming all 4 floors, the final boss will reward you with one of
Şahane
many unique
gözüküyor ya
relics.
Sanctum.
These relics will be consumed when used on your next run, but can reward you with unique and powerful items. For example, this is the Last Flame. If you use it, you will have only
Oğlum
one
bu ne?
honor
Kaç
for the
tane şey
entire
var?
trial. So you will
Oha,
need to do a
19 tane
completely
minion.
hitless run. The Trial of Chaos also extends into the endgame. As you gain inscribed ultimatums of
O nasıl
higher and
öldü
higher
öyle ama?
levels, the number of chambers that you can go through increases.
Aha,
In true
inscript
Val
ultimatum.
style, this allows you to take even more risks for even more rewards.
Ultimatumum
At
yüzümlü
endgame,
kekim.
you can progress
Çin
through up to
tankımı
10
getirin.
chambers with 3 bosses on
Çin
a single
tankım şov
run.
yapacak.
Stacking 10 tribulations on top of each other will make this a significant challenge, but it's worth
Oğlum
it.
ya
The
17
Trial Master
milyonla
will tempt you
gidiyorsun
with items of the
orduyla
Val
tak tek
Empire,
yedi
such as
indi
Val
aşağı.
Orbs. Val Orbs are powerful crafting items that corrupt your gear with random mysterious outcomes. Corruption prevents an item from being modified further, so it has to be the last step of your craft.
Val Orb
But
attığım
it's also the
itemlere
most
beklenmedik
impactful one.
şeyler
For
yapıyor.
example, if you use one on your
İlk
body
istekledi
armor,
mesela
it might add
gördüğün
a
gibi.
new powerful
Oturmak sak geldi.
enchantment, or it might re-roll up to half of its modifiers. Val Orbs also have
Burada ne
the
yaptı
ability to
anlamadım.
add a socket, allowing you
Soket
to bypass
ekledi.
the
Bu
normal
soketlere
restriction
de
of how
rünleri
many sockets
koyuyoruz.
an item
Rünler
can
ne?
have. A body
Armora
armor could
koyarsan
get up to
life
3
veriyor.
sockets this way,
Silaha
allowing for
koyarsan
a
physical
significant
damage
number
veriyor.
of mods.
Gibi.
Val Orbs can even modify uniques. Adding enchantments or
Unique'leri
sockets
de
to uniques can
implicit
make them
vesaire
incredibly powerful,
ekleyebiliyoruz.
but there is a good chance that you will break them as well. The Trial Master will also occasionally offer you soul cores. Originally formed by Chaos,
Elemental
the Val
Yellow
sought to
Threshold ne lan?
replicate soul cores through human sacrifice rituals and blood magic to power their civilization. Soul cores are
Bunlar
powerful
ne?
socketable items, with
Silaha
mods that
takarsan
cannot be
spirit
obtained from
veriyor.
regular
Çok iyi.
runes.
Atak speed gayet
Like all
iyi.
in-game content, there is of course a pinnacle boss. The final chamber will drop
Bir
keys to
boss
this
daha
mysterious
geldi.
door. Some say this is where the Trial Master himself resides. Perhaps you are willing to take the risk to find out. Had enough yet? because there is still just one more
Ay
thing.
bu da
The most
endgame
difficult
bossları.
content in
En
Path of
son
Exile 2.
bosslar. En
While
son
mapping, you might
keseceğimiz
come across
bosslar.
this
Oyunun
fortress that has
son
emerged
bossları.
from
Hardcore
underground,
bossları.
surrounded by an enormous
Farmını
maze
yapacağımız,
riddled with danger.
sürekli
Is
döneceğimiz
the
bosslar
maze
bunlar işte.
preventing something
Pinnacle
from
boss
getting
oluyor.
in?
Sürekli
Or
döneceğiz.
something
Metal
getting
Güzel
out?
1'de 6
This
tane
fortress
vardı.
is of
Onlar
ancient origin,
pas
and its
onları
construction
dönüyorduk
has
biz. Hardcore
similarities to
itemleri
the
düşürmek
towers
için.
and tablets
Metal
that you
Güzel
have been
2'de de
using on your
bunları
journey
döneceğiz
through the
yüksek ihtimal.
endgame.
Çünkü
It is
Pinnacle
clear
boss
from the
demişler.
entrance that
Bakalım
there are
kaç
3
tane var.
keys required to enter.
Yoksa Maven
Local
mı var
factions
kapının
are vying for
arkasında?
access to the fortress in order to seize the power they believe will be inside. Each of the faction's leaders have managed to get their hands on one of the keys,
Faction
so
lider
you will
mi?
need
Bir
to defeat
dakika.
them. Each faction is led by an Uber Act boss. You can see one of them inhabiting the city, but in order to fight him, you will first
Tamam,
need to
ilk
defeat their
Pinnacle
2
boss'umuz
lieutenants
bu.
in the adjacent zones.
Viper.
Be careful. If you fail against either of the lieutenants, or to kill the leader, they will move on,
İkincisi
and you
bu
will need to
Dorian'i.
find them again. Kill
Of,
all the
nasıl
Uber bosses
bağırtıyor
and you will gain
gördünüz değil mi?
access to the fortress.
Bu Pinnacle
We aren't going to
bosslarının çok
spoil it
özel
as we can't
skill'leri
wait to
var.
see you guys
Asla
attempt it for the
tanklanamıyor.
first
Yani
time.
çok özel
But is there a tree
bir
you get
build
points
hariç
enough to killing it?
tanklanamıyor.
Of course
Tanklanması
there is.
imkansız.
This
Onun
is Path of
mekaniğini
Exile.
yapman
There is
lazım ki
always another
geçebilesin.
tree.
So these are your challenges for PoE 2. As you can see, this project is crazy huge, way bigger than even we expected when we started out. But how do you gain access? Well, during early access you'll need a key to
Geldik
get in.
en önemli
To thank our
konuya.
existing
Fakir
PoE
Türkler
supporters
burada
who
mı?
have spent more than $480
Gariban Türkleri.
we'll be giving you guys a key for the PC
Hadi bakalım
version
bize
for free.
alınabilecek bir supporter
Anyone else
pack
who
ver
wants
de.
one can get one by purchasing one
Şimdi
of the new
Steam'de
early
kaç para
access
dediniz
supporter
abi?
packs that have
Burada
just been released to
gördüğümüz
the store.
fiyatın yarı fiyatı mı?
If you just want early access to PoE
Bu ne
2,
kadar
then
abi?
you can get a key in the $30
Sadece point.
early access
30
pack.
dolar.
The
Bu ne
pack also
kadar şu
comes
an?
with $30 of
30
points to
pointlik.
spend in the MTX store. But we also have a variety of
Pahalı.
other supporter packs filled with exclusive microtransactions,
Paridon,
points to spend in
Paridon
the
ya.
store, and even
15
physical
dolar.
items.
Çok iyi.
The cosmetics can be used right now in PoE 1 and in Path of Exile 2 when
60
early
dolarlık
access
o zaman
starts.
27
Most
dolar
of
mı?
this footage has been
60
recorded
dolarla
in Path
alırsın
of
o
Exile
zaman.
1,
Ama
since
15
that's where you
dolar
can use them
çok iyi lan.
immediately.
15 dolar ne kadar?
The
550
Lord of
lira mı?
Ogrim supporter pack contains a cosmetic armor set befitting of the
Ama
Count
hiç
of Ogrim
kozmetik
himself.
yok lan onda.
There is also a
Hani
matching back
üstüne
attachment which has an
27'lik
alternate
bir şey
variant
almak
depicting
damat değil
influence
mi?
of corruption. Also in this
Ama
pack, you can find a
kozmetik de iyi
portal
mi? Ona
formed
da
of the
bakmak
rusted
lazım.
armor of the fallen soldiers in the Red Veil of Ogrim, and the offspring of a vicious Crowbell boss found in the hunting grounds. This
Peki
one doesn't
ya.
look so vicious though.
Hadi loot toplayan pet.
On top of that, you'll receive the Iron Count's Y-Hander to apply to your one-handed or two-handed swords. For those who are wanting to decorate your hideouts with fond memories and tales of Path of Exile's
27
history,
dolar ne
you will
yapıyor?
also get a
900
series of
lira mı
hideout
yapıyor? 1000
statues.
lira mı?
This pack contains the statue
27
of
dolar
Hillock.
da alsak o
For
zaman.
Path of
Yanında
Exile 1's
ufaktan
closed
bir
beta, each pack
kostüm
contained
olsun
a
da
true
olsa.
New Zealand icon, the
Bu
Kiwi.
gösterdiği mi 27
Following
dolar?
this tradition, all packs in this series will also contain a new themed Kiwi pet.
45'lik yeni.
The pet will loyally follow you into battle, but run away at the
Sadece
first sign of trouble.
şey almak kötü hani bir tane.
Become the ruler of the desert with the king of the Faradin supporter pack. Show your mastery of traversing the sands of the Vasteri plains. The body armor will allow you to glide along the ground with ancient sand magic. Now each armor set comes with body armor,
Oğlum bu
boots,
çok
gloves,
iyiymiş
and
lan. Bu
helmet.
kaç paralık
The
da var
boots are covered
abi?
in sand.
Beyler bu kaç
If
paralık
you'd
da
prefer
var?
to show them off, you can turn the gliding off if you want.
Bu felaket lan bu. 45 dolar mı bu?
The
Tamam
accompanying
abi,
back
ver
attachment
27
equips you with
dolara
two
al
powerful
bunu.
pillars that can
Yok,
control and manipulate light.
Steam'de 46
They
mı?
will
Yoksa
periodically
normalde
release their
46
energy in a
27
powerful
dolar mı?
blast while in town, and hover in a circle
Steam'de
around
kaç
you,
para
arcing
bu?
lightning between them, forming a barrier of energy.
Ha normalde 100 dolar o.
Replace the appearance of any bow with the Faradin's
Çok
glory
güzel,
skin,
çok güzel ama
or replace the appearance of a spear with the Tyranny's end spear skin.
burada eğlendik abi.
This spear skin can be applied to staves and war staves in Path of Exile 1. If you want to truly show your worth as a king of the Faradin, then you definitely need your trusty, moving entire city fortress known as the Dreadnought
Abi
to
bu
travel
kadar
across the
endgame hiç
Vasteri plains.
beklemiyordum. Beni çok şaşırttı
Path of
ya.
Exile, you can
Oğlum
decorate
bir
your hideout
dünya
however you
endgame
like. There's
kontenti
no
var.
exception here.
Yani
It comes with a variety of thematic elements to use.
Aha,
or use
hideout'umuz
decorations from
bu mu?
elsewhere in the game. Additionally,
Hideout
you'll get
buymuş.
the Death Raid's
Hideout'muş lan
Blessing level
o
up
gemi.
effect. The King of the Faradin Kiwi
Yoksa
pet.
supporter pack mi? Bir dakika. Supporter pack mi
And
hideout
last but not
mu?
least, a statue depicting the Val
Parayla
Ogersoul
mı
from
alıyoruz
Path of
yani
Exile
o
1.
hideout'u? Yoksa
For those
support
who don't
şey
know how
normal
supporter
hideout
packs
mu?
work, each pack comes with all of the cosmetics from the previous tier, so you'll get all the items from the Lord of Ogham supporter pack as
Abi
well.
45 dolar en iyisi o zaman. Oo
The
çok iyi o
Thaumaturge of
zaman.
the Vaal
45
supporter pack
dolarlık
features an
en
armor
iyisi
set
ama
and
çok
back
pahalı
attachment
usta.
themed around the Vaal and their pursuit of science and
Oğlum ama
progress.
Hideout yürüyor lan, çok iyi
You can
lan.
find the Soul Core weapon effect in this pack. which
Hideout
causes thaumaturgic
şahaneymiş
energy
oğlum,
harnessed from
supporter pack
sacrifice to spill
Hideout'u.
from your weapon. This pack also contains Doyani's Idol. It
Oğlum
replaces the
sırf
default
Hideout
appearance
için
of
ya.
any
Hem de o
foe pack to
koşan
an
da
ancient
çok iyi
relic
oğlum.
once
Ayakta
used by
koşuyor
Doyani.
falan.
And this can be applied to shields in Path of Exile 1. That's not the only Vaal weapon you'll find. It also contains the Wand of the Thaumaturge skin and the Royal Sacrifice Dagger skin.
Abi
You
45
wouldn't
dolar
think to
en
put
iyisi
sacrificial
beyler.
gems on a Kiwi, but the Vaal did.
Yeni
Thaumaturge of the
başlayanlar
Vaal
için
supporters will
özellikle
receive
daha
the
da iyi.
Thaumaturge
Neden?
of the Vaal
Bayağı bir
Kiwi
puan da
kit.
verir o. Kaç puan
And
veriyor?
the Statue of
45
Dominus.
dolarlık.
This is also the first
O
pack in the series
puanlarla
with a physical
köresini
item.
alırsın, köresi
When purchasing
tabını,
this pack,
map
you'll receive
tabını.
a
Ya
Path of Exile
ihtiyacın
2
olan
logo
her şeyi
t-shirt.
alırsın abi.
But if you don't
1000
want one,
point. Oo
you can
1000
opt out
point.
and return for additional
Her
points
şeyi
to spend in
alırsın
the
abi
store.
ihtiyacın olan.
Becoming a Warlord of the Karui supporter will grant you an armor set
Bütün
and back
köresini,
attachment
esansını,
adorned in jade
fragmentini
carvings
hem
and
de
iridescent
hem
feathers
karakter
resembling
skillini
power.
çok iyi. Havada
Enough to
uçuyor.
even impress
Hem de
the
şeyi de
ancestral
güzel.
gods, specifically Tugohamar,
Hideout
the
olayı,
Karui god of
Hideout
war.
zaten bitiriyor da.
Overkill, you say? I think the Karui people would disagree. Why not drop a gigantic totem on rare
Eksi 50
enemies that you
FPS.
slay to crush them to a pulp? Replace your crafting bench in your hideout
50
with
FPS
Ancestral
burada
Canoe
kaybettik.
crafting bench, where Ancestral Chief Martin
Abi
will summon a
crafting
giant
bench'e
canoe
bak.
manned by Karui
Crafting
warriors to aid in your crafting desires.
We must all start somewhere.
You'll also get a pair of weapon skins.
Bu kaç
Equip the Koya's
paralıktı?
Felling Axe skin to your one-hand or two-handed axes.
Bu da mı
or
45
Tugohamar's
dolarların
Crusher to
içinde?
your one-handed or two-handed maces.
Crafting bench'e bakalım.
A true
Gemiyle
Karui warlord
geliyorlar
is
ama.
always accompanied by their trusty Kiwi. Equipped
240
with
dolar.
armor and
Yok abi
harnessing
eğlendik
ancestral
orada.
magic,
Türkiye
doing
eğlendi.
the perfect sidekick.
Türkiye eğlendi abi, çok pahalıymış.
Once one of the most feared beings in Rayclast, Malachi was slain by a powerful exile. May the statue commemorate the virtue of exile's past, present, and of the future. Of course, it's not all
Şimdi
about dressing up in
480
game.
dolar
You'll want to look
geliyor.
good in real life too. By becoming a Warlord of the Karui supporter, you'll also get a Path of Exile 2 hoodie. Our final tier of supporter pack in this series is the Liberator of Rayclast supporter pack. The Liberator of Rayclast armor set and back attachment come made with the finest materials in Rayclast, and shattered glass mosaics suspended
Eksi
in
10
divine
FPS.
power. Set up your base of operations in the Beacon of Salvation hideout. Why restrict yourself to just one
Hideout'a
island when you can
bakalım.
liberate more? The Beacon of Salvation hideout comes equipped with your own collection of small islands and personal operators of boats that you can use to
Hideout'a
row
bak.
between them. Just walk to the piers, click a boat to enter, and navigate as you
Bu
choose.
kaç paralıktı beyler?
Decorate each island as you
480
see
dolar
fit to
mı?
best represent your well-earned hideout.
Hideout'a bakalım.
Everyone in your hideout could use their own boat. Why not have some races? You can also get the Window to Twilight portal
Oğlum
effect.
Beto
A
Excel'de
beautiful mosaic
ada
piece of art
kiralıyorsun
shatters
ömrünü
and reveals a gateway
480
to your
dolara.
desired destination as you approach it. As you walk away, the glass magically reforms back to its original form.
Abi ada kiralıyor ya.
Rule and style with the Throne of the Ruler map device. Sure, this map device can create portals to in-game maps, but it also comes with a throne you can sit on to oversee
Allah'ım
your growing
tahta
kingdom.
falan var
Look
480
down on the
dolar.
plebeians running your
Zenginlik
maps.
işte, görüyorsunuz değil mi?
Being the Liberator, though, is not just about sitting on your throne all day. If you do decide to
Adamların
join the fight
hideout'una
yourself,
trade'e
you
gideceğiz,
can
adam
leave a High
tahta
Priest in
oturuyor
charge
amına.
as your second in command.
İtem
Liberator of
verirken
Rayclast
böyle
supporters will
3-5
also get a
kaos
set
daha
of
kafana
varied weapon
atacak böyle
skins.
fakir köpek diye.
The Light of Divinity Scepter skin, the
Sen böyle
Deliverance Crossbow skin,
15 dolarlık da
the
girmişsin
Justice
abi.
Flail skin, and the Redemption Shield skin. Once again, you'll have an
Adamın
accompanying Kiwi,
hideout'a
and
girerken
of course a
yerlere
statue
eğileceğiz.
depicting one of the most iconic events in Rayclast's history. The battle between a powerful
Abi
exile
bayağı
and
iyi ya
Kitava, the
480
Insatiable.
dolarlık ama çok pahalı ya.
With the help of
Usta
two
en
deities,
iyisi
Sin and Innocence, the
27
exile was
dolarlık
able to
ya.
defeat him once and for all.
Ama
This supporter
27
pack also
dolar
contains
şahane
the
abi,
Path
o
of Exile
gemi
2
hideout'u
artbook.
çok iyiydi ya.
This
Çok
215
iyi bir
page
gemi
full color
hideout'u
artbook
ya.
includes a huge amount of amazing concept art and lore produced during the long and exciting journey of Path of Exile 2's development. And finally, Path of Exile has a tradition of letting the community participate in designing game features. For Path of Exile 2,
$46,
we added the
27
Twilight
değil
Order
miydi?
Foil Reliquary.
Ha 45 dolar mıydı o? Lan pardon.
By becoming a
Garibanın yüzü
Liberator of
gülür mü?
Rayclast supporter, once Path of Exile 2 is
Gemi
released, you'll be
46'daydı
able to
değil mi?
select any unique item you have found and be able to drop it from the reliquary. Once players have submitted their items, keys to the reliquary will start dropping, and other players will be able to find foil versions of uniques that you have submitted, along with a message for the lucky player.
Ne
The more
diyorsun
players submit
ya?
the same unique, the more chances there will be for the reliquary to drop them, so choose wisely.
Oğlum
Now, almost all of these
itemlerin
items are available
değişik
to use
versiyonları
here we want
gelecek
right now.
artık. Mı?
There are a few exceptions where the item class clearly doesn't exist, such as crossbows or flails. And there are also a few microtransactions on weapon types that are unavailable in PoE 2 at the start of early access. Once classes that use those weapon types are added, those microtransactions will be available to use. If you can't decide which supporter pack to choose yet, you can always start with the early access supporter pack that just includes a key and some points to spend in the store. Then you can upgrade to any of the following tiers at a later date. These supporter packs will be available for purchase throughout early access.
Bunlar
We'd
FETÖ
really
güzel
like to
birden
thank you for your
görüyordu bu
ongoing
arada.
support. Without you guys, Path of Exile 2 could not have happened. Now, I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions. Stick around, because coming
Burada
up next we have
eğleniyoruz.
a live
Bu adamın
Q&A with
sorduğu
Siggy D.
soruları pek beğenmiyor. Ne yapıyoruz peki? Şeye gidiyoruz. Siteye gidiyoruz. YouTube'daki siteye gidiyoruz. Oradan altyazılı bakacağız şimdi. Hızlı izleyelim ya. Buraya ne zaman gelecek bu ustam? Ey gidi aga. Ey gidi. Duygulandım lan. Oğlum bunlar garaj firmasıydı zamanında. FETÖ Exile. GGG. Garaj firması. Ya 3-5 kişinin beraber olduğu bir firma. Nereden nereye usta? Nereden nereye? Şimdi Sony'nin kurucusuyla Sony'deki elemanla beraber yayın yapıyorlar ve Exalicon yapıyorlar. 200-300 bin kişi izliyor. Oğlum ilk zamanlardan. Kaç sene öncenin videosu bu? Bir dakika. 14 yıl önce. Usta. Abi oyuna bak Allah'ım. Abi şu an bir sorun yaşanıyor. Bir dakika kaydı durduralım. Ben YouTube'a kayıt alıyordum. YouTube'un kaydı 2 saat olmuş. Arkadaşlar buraya kadardı YouTube. Hepinize izlediğiniz için teşekkürler. Genel bir tepki videosu gibi bir şey oldu. Biz devam edeceğiz. YouTube'a gelmesini bekliyoruz. Hani altyazılı bir şekilde izleyeceğiz. Siz de merak etmeyin. Ben bu şeyin bir özetini de anlatacağım. Yani bir 5 dakikalık videoda anlatacağım. 1 saat izlemenize gerek kalmayacak. Ama izlemek isteyenler tepki videosu olarak izleyebilirler. Görüşmek üzere.